Welcome back to Sebring for the last 2 hours and 50 minutes of what has been an enthralling and very interesting battle here at Sebring for the 60th running of the Mobil 1 12 Hours, fueled by Fresh from Florida. The wave by, as you can see, is underway past our safety car. Dindo Capello leads his teammate, the two from the 3 Audi, Loic Duval, by something like 35 seconds. There is the leader being picked up, and you can just see the signs of light fading now. Our cameras actually make it look a little brighter than it is out there. Just look at how the headlights and the taillights are more visible. Whilst we have an opportunity, let's learn a little more about sports car racing with a little more show and tell, and Rick de Breuil is in the pit lane.
Well, what you're looking at right here is the mounting plate for the wing on the Corvette. Significant because this year the Corvette wing is higher. Now the nice thing is they didn't have to manufacture a new wing. It's pretty much the same thing because they already had this plate. They simply moved it from being on the bottom mounting all the way to the top mounting. As a result, they get a higher wing. Now it is in conformation with some of the other cars. They feel that gives them more downforce. The downside to this, of course, is a little more drag on the straights. Oliver Gavin says he doesn't feel that his car has the same straightaway speed as the BMW. But that's the device that the wing sits on. All that stress goes on this little piece.
Not an expensive piece to manufacture at all there, I'm thinking. That is precision engineering. Very good. And actually, I think Ollie Gavin might be right, Jeremy.
Yeah, we've seen evidence of that during the race, certainly with the Porsche and the Ferrari and perhaps the BMW as well. The Corvette's not quite as quick on the straightaways, but they're plenty faster around the corners, and there's always a bit of a trade-off, isn't there?
Absolutely, you're always the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away with the old downforce. You sometimes you get a little bit more downforce into the car, and it generally brings a little bit more drag, which is something that I'm enjoying with the Nissan Delta wing, is the fact we don't have wings.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, but you still have an aerodynamic effect quite clearly, and a lot of the car, a lot of the detail work on the Nissan Delta wing. If you haven't seen it, check it out on the internet.
Yeah, check out YouTube. There's a couple of really good videos there. We do actually have little wings on the back of, we have little tabs exactly on the back, but all of the arrows comes from underneath the car. So it's very efficient, which is nice. It's what you want. And
also, because you don't have the big flat plain wing at the back, you don't then need a huge amount of downforce at the front to balance that off.
Especially not when you have 73% of the weight on the rear. So all the weight is on the rear of the car, and the
so mechanically
pressure,
you're getting that transfer.
Exactly. You have mechanically all the weight is on the rear, and aerodynamically the centre of pressure is on the rear. So where the car pushes into the ground is on the rear. So yeah, it's a very clever little car. It's Ben Bowlby and the team have done a beautiful job.
But you're right. With the flat bottoms that most of the cars have to run, they could get a lot more downforce from these cars if they put Venturi underneath them.
Russell Belt Pickett Racing have been ahead of the game in the Michelin Green X Challenge for efficient and clean as well as fast racing cars this afternoon. They've held their position ahead of the two Level 5 motorsports almost since the green flag nearly 10 hours ago. And that's quite a big gap actually, because those numbers are created not on a linear scale but on a logarithmic scale. Set of
curious that the 016 car doesn't show up on there.
In the GT, it's the two Corvettes, and still just fractions there, less than a whole point between them. And look at just how the slight differences in the clean, fast and efficient parts have added up for the number 4 car, and that takes into account all kinds of different parameters in terms of tyres, how many laps between pit stops and average lap time, etc. So it is a very scientific way of doing it. It was explained to me once on a whiteboard. Mathematics was a Friday afternoon double period for me, and I kind of zoned out. We've been running that Michelin Green X Challenge for a few years in the American Le Mans series, and it does really concentrate the mind. A few people have come out with various little tweaks just to deliberately try and affect the numbers on that in terms of tyre usage and fuel efficiency. Now, just look on the left-hand side of that wheel arch, that fender there. Dirty mark where all the rubber is getting pushed up and around, as we haven't had any rain here, so that's not rainwater marks. Quite interesting how much dirt gets throws up. The pits are open. And Julien Jus is taking the opportunity to go in the Pescarolo from 9th position. Guy Smith has gone in. Oh, number 1 Audi comes in and uncharacteristically for an Audi stop misses his marks by a couple of 3 inches. Jamie is down there watching Andre Lotterer.
Ordinarily during an Audi pit stop, I would pretty much trust them to stand and be their pit board. That time I'm glad I didn't, because I heard that metal scrape across the floor. It was a pretty standard stop, fuel only. Brad Kettler got out his flashlight, looked into the grates at the front of the car just to make sure that there was no debris stuck up in there, but it was a clean stop for the number 1 car.
Change back in GT Armors. Gianluca Roda in the 88 Felbermeyer Porsche has got back ahead of Patrick Bornhauser in the Labra Competizione Corvette, 88 from 50 and 31st and 32nd overall. We've got Corvette in there. That is, I think that might have, no, that's the 70 car that was in 3rd place in category. With, you see, they're only a lap away, you know. It's interesting. Andy Lally has pitted in the Flying Lizard. You just saw that car actually ahead of the Audi, pulling in the right-hand side into their pit lane, as the stricken 15 Oak will drop down the timing and scoring monitor as it comes back on the flatbed.
And he had just set the fastest lap of the race in that car, Guillaume Moreau, before the number 15 ballooned up.
Is that common, Marino? You get a really fast lap and then the engine goes?
All the way from go-karts to where I am now, yes. If it's mechanical and it goes really, really fast, it can then go really, really wrong, unfortunately.
It's nice and loose at that stage, a little bit too loose.
Just before it tightens up, yeah.
Yeah, terminally. Well, 2 3/4 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's the length of a standard American Le Mans Series race, and that's what we've got to go.
As a driver, Marino, you're probably pretty happy perhaps that the cautions came out around about now, because as that sun dips below that horizon there to the west, coming down here down the Elman Straight and also down into the hairpin, the sun is right smack bang in your eyes, and they haven't had to cope with that. They've been fortunate.
No, absolutely read my mind. I was thinking that earlier, that it's always a good time to have the yellow, and it just stops you having to run at full pace into that sun, and as you say, maybe missing a braking point or even running into a car because you misjudge it.
It is quite dark outside there, as you can see by the lighting on the infield. The safety car will pull off into pit lane this time, and Dindo Capello times it way better this time.
Green.
Steady, you heard from the guys on the radio. Through goes Dindo to start lap 244. Duval is 4 seconds back in that lot somewhere. There he is. Very distinctive from the back, that Audi, with the wing end plate mounted LED rear lights. And very distinctive from the front, because if you're blinded completely, then it's an Audi. If you're only partially blinded, it could be something else.
The interesting thing is he's trying to work his way through Ryan Diel and Christophe Pouchou having a good old battle as well at the moment. So, and
that's for the lead in P2.
It is, and Luis Perez-Componc is right in there as well with the Picom car, car number 49.
Yes, he is. I've been impressed with how he's come on. I started in Ferrari, of course, and then went into the prototypes. Team was being run by AF Corsa at Le Mans last year.
It was his battle for 3rd overall, 3rd and 4th.
It's Peter Dumbrett from Lucas Lure at the head of the field. How close do you have to get your gear shifts now, or is the car blipping down for you?
If it's working properly, it should be blipping for you, so you're doing is modulating the brake. So you just pull the paddle, and it's set up also to not allow you to downshift too early, so you can't damage the engine, or you shouldn't be able to damage the engine.
Does that mean you can effectively pre-select? You can go 1, 2, 3, 4.
No,
and it will shift down.
You can't pre-select, but if you pull a gear too early, nothing happens, and you have to pull it again.
Okay. Well, here's Lucas Lure down into the braking area, end of the wall, Marino says. And it was indeed end of the wall. He closes up right under the bridge, big bumps around there. You must feel like you're almost just hanging on to the car as you're turning and going to that bridge there.
It's certainly an adventure every single lap. Last year after the race, when I did the 24-hour sim, I actually ended up doing 1,100 miles here myself in 2 days.
Whoa!
1,500 miles.
Dumbreck's gone wide. Dumbreck's gone wide at 1. Didn't look to... No, has he got a problem? Has he got a problem? That was a major change of pace there.
Just got a little bit wide, but it is very physically challenging, this track, Marino.
Absolutely. As I say, I did 1,100 miles in 2 days out of the 1,500 we did, and I did 750 in 1 day around here, and it just beats you like someone's taken to you with a bat. But it was interesting that Peter was looking kind of on the edge through.
Yeah, he was.
Through 1, as we were talking about before that yellow, and the tyres still aren't quite up to 10.
Yes.
I mean, maybe through there the bumps affect the car quite a lot, so it looks like the Muscle Milk car is just a little bit better through 1, and it caught Peter out there.
And if he can recover from that, as we're watching now the battle for P2 supremacy. Christophe Bouchou in the black car ahead of Ryan Dalziel in the white. They're easy to spot even in the gathering gloom here. And the Starworks team of Peter Barron, I tipped immediately as a championship contender for the World Championship. And I think they've done a smashing job here today. Not got out and tried to blitz anybody out there. They've just gone about their work, Jeremy.
They certainly have, and that is the battle now for 6th and 7th places overall. So they've just moved up, crept up the leaderboard, and they're only 5 laps behind the overall winners. Not that that's significant in any way, but in the past they've been a lot farther apart than that. Ryan Dalziel had a bit of a run there going down towards the Jean-Aubin S's, but I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move into there.
Meantime, the GT scrap goes on. So we're looking forward from the Corvette. Sounds like a Corvette anyway. And now you can see the difference when the sun's gone down below the skyline. Ryan Dalziel goes across the line in 2nd place, still in P2. Christophe Bouchou by half a second. Yes, that is a Corvette.
The Muscle Milk team very happy with the car so far today. Remember, they only got it literally about 2 months ago, but compared to what other teams have gotten it, that's not bad. Only adjustments they've been making all day are air pressure adjustments, and they said the good news is each air pressure adjustment has gone in the right direction, giving them just a little bit more. Very satisfied and very excited about that last pass that put him into 3rd place.
Just look at the rear view mirror on the left hand side. HD is a wonderful thing. You can see the headlights flashing of the cars coming up behind him.
You can also see the flames that kick out on overrun, and we did a video last year with Highcroft Racing, which I think is still on YouTube, and I think it called it Sebring Hot Lap, just because there was flames kicking out on every downshift, so it's well worth a look.
Just fantastic. There's another one. There's another one. Pop, pop, bang, bang. It's on board with Lucas Luhr now in 3rd position and pulling out a 2.5 second lead. Peter Dumbreck some 52.3 that time around after that little mistake. Yeah,
a moment there in turn 1 that'll cost him a momentum, but certainly a good, pretty much a first flying lap of 1:49 for Lucas Luhr. That's pushing on.
Absolutely, especially when Peter had that moment in front of him. Yeah. It's very good time for him. And Peter as well is, to be honest, to have a moment at 1 and get away with it, you're doing well. So he's done a great job just to keep it out of the fence in that situation.
You're saying thank you for several corners after that, aren't you?
Absolutely.
And now we know why he went wide. It's a right rear flat tyre for Dumbreck, and Kelly is down in the GRM pit.
They've got a right rear flat, so they're going to come in and fuel up while they can. Remember, they were just been passed by that 6 car for the last spot on the podium in P1 and overall here. And the 12 Hours of Sebring, we see them coming over. It looks like they might just take the time to give them 4 new fresh tires. Although it's not going particularly quickly or smoothly. And this is really going to cost the 22 that was vying for a podium spot.
I don't think they were expecting him in there, I'll be quite honest. It took a lot of fuel though, so he must have been getting towards the end of a run. And putting in brand new set of 4 Michelin's on the GRM HPD. Fire and go, come on. See the work on the inside of that wheel arch where the little louvres are to satisfy the rules, but you're actually grabbing back some downforce with what you're doing there. It's very clever. Something's dragging on the ground there, fellas.
Yeah, there's an issue there on the right rear, it looks like. There's a lot of smoke coming out. So
something catching, or something, an oil pipe maybe being dragged off, but that's maybe something just dragging the ground and scraping away.
Looks like tyre.
No, that's tyre.
It's a tyre rub of some kind.
Suspension
failure.
Suspension failure. And that is a bit of inexperience from the GRM team. Didn't look at that when they replaced the tyre. It would have been hanging loose when the car was on its jack. Now he's going to have to do a whole lap on that, Marino.
It's heartbreaking for those guys because they've just done such a fantastic job, very last minute, and really feel for those guys.
What a shame. So I wonder if suspension caused tyre caused suspension, or a mixture of both. Now, whilst Peter is going to have to go around the 3 3/4 miles, let's go to GTC, and the 023 is Bill Sweedler, and he's the first of those two Porsche lights that you can see. Bill will be transferring to GT in the next round in the Lotus Evora. Behind them is the 34 car of Sebastian Blingemullen trying to get a lap back.
I had a chance to talk to Townsend Bell just a little while ago, and I said, well, so how much experience do you have in sports cars? He said, none. He said, I didn't want to tell anybody that. I was afraid they wouldn't let me do it, but he had a 2-hour stint this afternoon, loved it, and said he wants to get back in the car. He's ready to do more sports car racing.
And that's why, of course, he's in this car here, even though they're not doing a full season of the GTC category.
That's exactly right. He was supposed to do the Petit Le Mans 2 years ago in a Ford GT.
Yes, he was.
And the car was crashed before the race, so he didn't get to start that race. So this is, in fact, Townsend's first ever LMS start.
Now, this is quite significant if the 34 car can get back through, because that's a lap he's getting back. One of two that he needs, but that is a significant moment for the 34 car.
Yep, and the 023, Bill Sweedler, is leading the class, but the Andres Benitez is, or Angel Benitez is only about 7 or 8 seconds behind him in second place. So the 031 car, that's the second of the NGT Motorsports cars, has now got himself back on, not only back on the lead lap, but within 10 seconds of the lead in GT Challenge.
2.5 hours, actually a little more, 4 minutes over 2.5 hours to go. Just a little reprise of the IMSA GT3 Cup Challenge by Yokohama, with Michael Mills winning that from Fernando Pena, and Sean Johnson in third position. That was earlier on this week. Yesterday. The thing about racing on a Saturday here at Sebring is that all of the support races race on Thursday and Friday and then clear out of the paddock, so you get a bit extra car parking space.
I haven't left the track since I got here, so I wouldn't know.
You've got the bus here, have you?
I have, thanks to my brother, who was meant to be here hanging out, but had to do a PR event. But yeah, we've been staying at the track. He had to leave yesterday.
I feel like I haven't been away from the track.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, somebody was saying this morning, whinging and mourning as the 28 car, what a troubled weekend they've had. The Gulf Middle East racing cars. And I don't even.
He's missed his pit completely there, so they're going to.
Yeah, the guy with the board was a bit slow getting across, in fairness. Yeah, I got a tweet from somebody who was working at the Aussie Grand Prix and was whinging and mourning about time differences. And I said, look, I've been up 6 days in a row before dawn and out of the house before sunup, but I'm excited because I've got a World Championship. Now, here is the GRM car coming in with Peter Dumbreck. He's done a really good job to get that car back around without any further damage. Right rear suspension. He was sent out with that right rear suspension damage. Yeah, that's a wishbone problem. Kelly is overlooking the desperate scenes here at GRM.
As the team continues to look over this damage here to the rear suspension, it looked like they were trying to make a decision whether they were going to try for these repairs here on pit lane or send Peter Dumbreck back behind the wall. You can see they're trying to get the work done here. Obviously, if they had caught it when he came into the pits the last time around, they could have just kept the car here and begun the process Instead, it's a bit of a delay, and it looks like they're sort of trying to figure out what exactly the problem is and how to fix it.
Well, Marino Franchitti is looking at those pictures. What's the assessment, Marino?
Well, it's either something's broken on the suspension or something's come out of the gearbox there on the. So you've either broken one of the suspension arms or you've pulled out the mounting point of the gearbox. So they'll be assessing that right now. What I'm interested to know is, with the last minute as all this was and the lack of spares, is whether they have a whole corner built up and ready to bolt on. I'm pretty sure that the poor guys wouldn't, because they maybe don't have the spares. But it looks like they're going to go back behind the wall now.
With only 3 wheels on the car?
Yep.
Yeah, only 3 wheels on the car. He's going to take it easily back. That shows you how stiff a racing car is, doesn't it? As Jim Rowland says in my ear, you can't make it any worse. If the suspension's got in fact, they've took the wheel off, so it's not scraping the ground.
Have they? I think they've put
No,
it back
no,
on.
they haven't. Have they?
Have they not? It looks like they've got something there. Maybe wrong, but
Let's have a look when he turns.
yeah,
the airflow.
it's on a wheel. It is on a wheel.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he's got a bit too much camber on that. Off on the infield, that is the 18 car that was involved in that nasty-looking accident earlier on. And that is, I have to say, that wasn't their fault, but there's been a mistake made there by the Performance Tech Motorsport driver. He's over on your side screen, Jeremy.
Yeah, it is Anthony Nicolosi again. He's had an adventure-filled few hours here at Sebring International Raceway, off the road again here and facing the traffic. That's not going to be a lot of fun.
No, absolutely not. And that's a quick part of the circuit.
Yeah.
You can even see those Porsches going through very quickly indeed. There will be yellow flags waving.
Looks like he's having difficulty getting the car going too, doesn't it?
I think he was looking at the marshals there to wait to see what they were telling. There's a lot of people going past that very, very quickly. Well, that's a static camera.
It looks like the outside of 5, but I might be wrong there.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where that is as well.
I'd say it's outside of 5.
Yeah,
as
just
you come
before
on
the
back
bridge.
stretch, yeah. Well, that's what it looks like.
I'd agree with you there. Oh, my goodness me. That's one of the Audis. You can see full course caution. Number 11, I think. Is that right, Jeremy?
I think so.
So Capello leads with a 12.7 seconds lead before this 11th full course caution. Anthony Nicolosi is the cause. Looks like he's still got the engine running. I'm not sure that he's just waiting for a gap in the traffic to pull forward.
If he has still got it running, it's probably overheating by now, because they've been right up at his max sort of temperature before he even started, or close to it anyway.
No cooling fans on racing cars, of course. They rely on airflow to the radiators. He keeps glancing across at the marshal that you can see at the end of that tyre wall to see if he's going to give him a hand in terms of motioning him out onto the circuit. So, great shot, so evocative this place. Guys in the Audi hospitality at turn 1, enjoying a great view and great hospitality, I'm sure, as well. Look at the eyes.
That's Anthony Nicolosi, okay.
So they're looking for a tow. Now we're waiting for news from the pit lane. The Muscle Milk number 6 car, we heard Will Pitt. Now whether that is routine or not, we'll have to see. That's on board with Lucas Luhr. Sounds okay to me. That's an Audi ahead of him.
Yeah, it's not done that many laps of green since he last stopped. We've had an awful lot of yellows, haven't we, in the lately over the last few hours. They've been spaced out in pretty lengthy yellows, so we've not had an awful lot of green flag running. This car made a pit stop on lap 230, so it's done 20 laps, but most of those have been under yellow.
So still racing to be done, still positions to be won or lost. Capello leads. In P2, it's still Christophe Bouchou and Ryan DL battling it out hammer and tongs, with Luis Perez Compact now right up their tailgates. In PC, Frizzell and Leitzinger are separated by, well, nothing at all. So that'll be the 06 and the 52 car. Within third place, Colin Brown just part of a lap back.
Yeah, I think he's probably a lap back, isn't he?
GT, Ollie Gavin, Joey Hand, Jörg Muller, Tony Garcia, Bertolini and Leeds, top 6, all on the lead lap. That's number 4 Corvette, number 56 BMW, 155 BMW, 03 Corvette, 71 and 77 Porsche. And since we started here in the American Le Mans Series in 1999, well, the most full course cautions we have had is 10, except for today. We've just broke an unwanted record.
Yes.
11. However, this is the biggest field that we've had in the ALMS era too. So pass around.
It started out so well, didn't it? We had one caution early on, then we went through a good 68 lap stint before we had the second caution. And since then, it's been a bit of a steady flow, but it's still been, it's been an interesting race, and we've had all sorts of excitement. And there's no doubt there's still a lot still to come. We're inside now the final 2.5 hours, but there's a lot of strategy to be played out, and I think a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing as well.
I'm surprised that car just hasn't restarted. It's still got lights on it. They tend to go out pretty quickly if your engine isn't running. So, yeah, pull me out. Yes, I think that's what they're doing, aren't they? Don't worry. And to take up the slack. Oh, nicely done, gentlemen. Now, will he try? Can you bump start these cars now, Marino?
You should be able to, but
Do you have a foot clutch?
Oh,
still?
absolutely, you have a foot clutch, yeah,
Right.
in all the cars. But generally, it's not a good thing to
Why?
drop the clutch when you're getting towed behind there, just because you could rip the towing hook out of either your car or rip the back off the towing car.
Okay, yes, fair point, well made, nicely presented.
Because it puts a heck of a lot of strain through everything. This yellow's really closed Duval up to Capello, because Capello had the 12-second lead there. The caution before had given him 30 seconds of close-up, and Dindo had stretched it out another couple before this caution came out, and now they're only a second apart in traffic.
Well, let me just run through the classes that we've got here and the gaps. Capello and Duval, now we're behind safety car. Head of the field, Capello and Duval, 1.3 seconds. In P2, 5th and 6th, Bouchou and DL, 4.5 seconds. It's the same lap, of course. In PC...
There's 2 other cars on the lead lap also.
Correct.
In P2.
Correct, yes, good point. In PC, Frizzell and Leitzinger, 3.8 seconds, with Braun on the same... No, not quite on the same lap as them, so just the lead 2 there. In GT, first... How many? 6 still are on the lead lap, separated by about 15 seconds. Ricard leads yet. Maybe Ricard's just dropped off. No, I don't think
Did he
has.
lose a lap with that penalty? He hasn't come past you yet.
Right, we'll have to
I
see.
think he might have lost a lap, actually.
Yeah. In GT Am, Roeder and Bornhauser, 2.5 seconds between them in 30th and 31st position for the 88 and the 50. And in GTC, Swiegler and the 31 car, 5 seconds. That's what you did. 5 4, I see. So, considering that we have effectively 5 classes here, and none of them are separated by more than 5 seconds, with 2.5 hours to go, I would say that we've still got a bit of racing to do.
So
Absolutely.
And just the one car now in between the 2 leaders, the 2 Audis. Separated by just one, I think it's a GTC car. So when we get back to green, maybe we're going to have a battle again for the lead here. I'm presuming they're going to be allowed to race, those 2 at the front of the field. Not going to really know in the Audi camp, but we'll find out soon enough.
In the Manufacturers' Championship, it doesn't matter which one wins.
No.
But in the Drivers' Championship, it does, because I'm fairly certain that the 3 car isn't doing the full season. So you'd want Capello, McNish and Christensen to get max points. So it would not make any sense at all to allow Duval to take points away from the 2 car. And people say, oh, what does it matter, it's only a few points. I tell you what it matters. A few years ago, when Peugeot were dominating the series in Europe at the Nürburgring 1000k, they didn't swap the 2 cars around at the head of the field. And despite not winning a race all year, Audi took the championship at Silverstone because they finished better than the Peugeot, because the leading Peugeot had a disaster. So it does matter. You have to take these chances.
What are the rules? I mean, the number 3 car effectively isn't eligible for points, but does that mean everybody else moves up behind?
No, I'm not. I didn't say they're not eligible for points. They're not doing the full season.
Right. But they do score points, though, do they?
They score. I'm pretty certain they score. They can't score manufacturer points. It's just the drivers' points that they score.
Okay.
But they're not due to be in it for the full season, that car. It's only the 1 and 2 car. And of course, if Audi starts swapping and changing drivers around, then all bets are off. So, hello, Anthony Davison and Alex Wirtz, who are listening at the moment. 2 hours 20 to go from Sebring. There are your leaders. We're under our 11th full course caution. And with the biggest gap between any of the leaders, 5 seconds, there's still some racing.
All the excitement of the American Le Mans Series is back.
Great flag and we're racing at Baltimore.
Where technology races into the future and no man is better than his machine. Failure is always a threat when pushing development to its very edge, but survival makes success that much sweeter. This is where technology, passion, and danger meet to create a spectacular orchestra. The American Le Mans Series, presented by Tequila Patron, where the technology of speed and danger is everything.
Well, just under 2 hours and 20 minutes to go here at the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, fueled by Fresh from Florida. Marino Franchitti has taken his leave of us and headed back to do a bit of homework and get ready for his test on Monday with the Nissan Delta Wing. It's been a pleasure having him here. Jeremy, I thought he's adds a, you know, as a driver who's got so much experience, you forget how many different cars Marino's driven and how many different manufacturers and teams he's driven for. Just a phenomenal insight that we just can't have on our own.
Yeah, that's true. You know, he's a lovely guy too. So it's always great to have Marino here, and you know,
he doesn't eat much as well, which I always think is great.
he's so enthusiastic. You know, he and his brother, I mean, the true students of the sport, both of them. They love every aspect of it, and that's why, you know, I've got so much admiration for them.
So the pit lane is open. So let's see who dives in. Brett is still there.
I think that's Capello, wasn't it?
I'm quite sure. I think yes, it was. And Lucas Luhr's come in as well from 3rd place. Now we need to keep an eye on that. Bouchou's in, Nicola Prost's in from 4th. Duval has stayed out. Audi have split their strategy again. They'll bring him in at the end again of the run. And there is Dindo Capello down at Audi with Kelly.
Dindo Capello now out of the number 2 Audi. Tom Christensen is in to do what's presumably his last stint here as they begin their tire change here on the number 2 Audi. So far everything has gone quite smoothly for this trio that's had so much success here in the past. Tom Christensen gets the car fired up and is on his way back out of pit lane.
Clipped that tire, didn't he?
I think he may have done.
Rick de Brule.
Well, we got a lot of action down here on pit road. We have the Corvettes, both Corvettes that have come in, but it's a packed row. Right in front of them, you see this core car, and then you'll spin around and we can actually see what's going on upstream. We've got both BMWs. Taro?
It's going crazy out here. The BMW just pitted. Joey Hand remains in the car. They're changing all 4 tires. He's going to keep on going. There was a little confusion before. Number 18, the car that pit in front, was taking a little bit of time getting...
BMW's out in front of Corvettes. That's twice they've done that. And did you see what they did there? It was very clever, Jeremy. They didn't try to clear the tyres from the second BMW. He just ran straight out through the first BMW pit. That was smart thinking by RLL.
Yeah, they've really put a lot of thought into this, and it's interesting, isn't it, that all the GT contenders came in, and again, an indication that Audi, they're quite happy with the order as it is right now. That this is good. When Duval comes in next time around, it's going to put him way at the back of the pack, and they're going to, once again going to give the number 2 car a big advantage. So I think that Dr. Ulrich is telling us here, don't think there's going to be a fight on the hands towards the end of this race.
The car they want to move up, of course, is the number 1 car. That's the other car that's registered for drivers' points, or that's a full season entry, should I say, the Le Mans winners from last year. Yes. But they are 9th in P1, but what I've got to work out is how many LMS cars there are in P1 ahead of them. I don't think it's that many. It'll be the
1, I think.
2. It'll be the Dyson car and the Muscle Milk car. So yeah, it's just the 2. So he's actually,
and he's got about
7th.
It's about the next car he's going to pass. He'll move up 1 when unless they can get the JRM car back out there. We'll have to wait and see. But right now the JRM car is still 8 laps ahead of the number 1 car of Andre Lotterer.
Not been a clean run for Straka, has it? They're down in 7th position. Danny Watt's back in that car. And,
a few little niggles. Generally speaking, the cars run fairly well. Certainly a few niggles has kept them from contending, I think, to where they might otherwise have expected to be.
Yes. The cars then heading around to get back on the end of the crocodile. So Duval then, if Jeremy's surmising is right, should come in this time around, and that would be Dr. Ulrich, head of motorsport, sending a very, very clear message that this car is not the favoured one this weekend.
Loic Duval has come to a stop in the number 3 Audi. He will stay in the car. They're going to switch out that data logger, the data card, cleaning the windshield. They are not tearing off They're not tearing off one of the tear-offs. They're just cleaning it fuel only for the number 3 Audi. It was a very quick stop, and he is out.
And he's lost the lead as through goes Tom Christensen across the timing and scoring beam to his left. And he's losing more and more positions and more track to Christensen. So as Jeremy rightly said, that is a major indication of where the favour lies as far as Audi's concerned. He may even be stopped at the end of pit lane. Yes, he is. The red flag is out because the whole of the crocodile's coming through, and that's what catches him every time.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of times he was just that car was unfortunate because the number 2 car just happened to make a pit stop right before the onset of a full course caution. This time around, clearly premeditated there by the Audi strategists. You know, we're going to split these cars up, and this is a very easy way to do it. They put one car in one lap before the other.
Effectively becomes a bit of a test for these guys. They're staying over on Monday and Tuesday. It'll be the first public sighting, and in race trim at least, of the Audi R18 e-tron Quattro.
It's unfortunate, I think, that there's no way the number 6 car can get its lap back, because otherwise, yeah, they couldn't. The Audi camp really couldn't afford to take that gamble, I think. But the fact they are a whole lap ahead of the Muscle Milk car means that, you know, there's no real threat from behind. But of course, now what this does do is put Loic Duval back in that whole mess of the traffic, as we can see right there, because he's at the very, very tail end of the pack. So, you know, he's got to pick his way through, and the chance of getting involved in an incident are.
Hopefully, it's at this stage that you've got to say that hopefully nobody gets any nasty problems, because, you know, once you get inside down towards the last couple of hours, you've broken the back of the race. And again, I quoted Hugh Chamberlain and Martin Short earlier on, but, you know, Hugh Chamberlain would say better to go out in the first hour of the race when the pub's still open than, you know, get to 22 hours of a 24. And I kind of know what he means. It's sort of.
Well, so do I.
But I mean, you can imagine if you put all that effort in and the end is in sight. Yeah, you fall out in the first couple of hours. It's disappointing, but, you know, you get packed up early and you've got some time to recover. You put all the effort in and get towards the last couple of hours of the race, and then all of a sudden you're out, and it's all those might have beens were a damn sight closer, weren't they?
It's just as cool a shot at night time, isn't it, as during the day. I mean, it looks fantastic in the daytime with all the mass of people down there, the campers and just the fans in general. But at night time, boy, isn't that a great sight?
It certainly is. As the safety car pulls off, and it's the GT leaders, I think, who are there.
GTE AM leader, I think.
Yeah, it was. Gianluca Roda with Bornhauser right up his tailpipes. And this could be a pass for position, as through comes one of the Audis on the inside, and followed through by Christensen, it was.
There are those 2 GT AM leaders just going down into turn 3.
Who was the second prototype that went through there? So difficult to see the numbers even with our HD monitors here in the booth. Thank you very much. It's a Strata car. Thanks, guys, for giving us that shot. So that is Danny Watts, who is off chasing Audis now. Now this is going to be fun. If Watts has got a car underneath him that he feels is good, there you go. As predicted. As
looked like Roda ran a little bit wide there down at turn 7. Is that going to give Bornhauser an opportunity to make a challenge going up towards turn 10? That is a battle for the lead in GTE Amateur. This car's absolutely nose to tail, and you can see the Porsche just definitely slip a little bit wide on the exit of that hairpin turn.
Looking back down at Danny Watts. Another private team in the World Championship. You've got to say, Jeremy, we were talking about this earlier on to Scott Atherton, you know, these are times that are financially difficult for everybody, and yet there are still teams who want to come and race in the World Championship. Starworks, we were talking about, P2 in the World Championship. Found it very, very affordable. Now, earlier on we were talking about just how bright the headlights are on the Audi. Getting a bit of picture break up there. We'll get that back for you in a moment. You can see which one the Audi is. Look at how white the light is pointing out of that Audi in the left-hand side of the picture. So it just goes out of frame now. And that's fighting its way through the back of the field. That is Loic Duval. But from the onboard shot there, you can clearly see just how much difference there is between the lights of the Audi and everything else. We'll get the helicopter to catch back up again, and we'll pick up that onboard shot. As through again goes the 13, delayed by major problems earlier on, but has since run, again touching wood, Jeremy, pretty much faultlessly.
Yeah, and every time I looked at the scoring monitor, it's been Jerome Blakemole at the wheel of that
He's never got out of it. There's the Audi. Now, you balance the cameras for the aperture, for how much light gets into it, but look at how blown out that is, how white that is in front of the camera, because that's how much light those headlamps are throwing onto the road, and that's from a completely dark interior of the car, remember, looking outwards. That is quite remarkable. GT battle continues. Top three all within 2 seconds as we're looking forward from Joey Hans. Probably he needs to keep looking forward. He's the leader at the moment because behind him is Tommy Milner and behind him is this car. This is the 155. And there's just see the yellow Corvette 2 cars ahead. Yes, you don't want these guys getting involved in the battle, and this is getting frustrating, I think, for Jörg Müller.
So Hand, Milner, Müller and Beretta, so that's so BMW and Corvette, right? No, of course it's not, it's BMW, Corvette, BMW and Ferrari. Olivier Beretta is right there in car number 71, and that car is going to be a serious threat in the closing stages of this race.
Mark Lieb is only another few seconds behind. Jordan Taylor's in there as well in the second Corvette. We've still got 6 GT contenders in 9 seconds. Let me just say that again. 6, the top 6 GT cars, 2 Corvettes, 2 BMWs, a Porsche and a Ferrari, all within 9 seconds of each other. Marvellous.
One of the Audis going through there. 02 car, Anthony Lazzaro back at the wheel of the Extreme Speed Motorsport car. And that's still running strongly in 8th place. A couple of 3 laps behind the leaders in the class, but still running strong.
Now, is that a pass for position?
I think it
yes,
is.
It is. Trying to go through on the outside, the number 4 car of Tommy Milner for a moment, a fleeting instant. He was ahead, I think, there.
Was that Jörg Müller taking the place away, I think, perhaps, actually? Taking 2nd place?
Yeah, that could have been.
Could have been anything, because those cars are still
yes,
all battling
was.
together.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is so tight down there. All kinds of weird things happen in the dark. Coming through. I know it's difficult to pick things out at this time, and HD cameras have made life much easier for us, and the quality of the onboards have made things a lot easier for us as well. But there is just something very, very sexy about watching cars racing in the dark. Now that is the 2nd place GT Am car of Patrick Bornhauser that we've just gone by. That was the 50 car. So 2.5 seconds up the road is going to be Gianluca Roda.
He's made a little bit of a break then since we went back to Green Flag Racing. Gianluca Roda, he and Richard Leitz actually had a lot of success in the GT Open Series and all sorts of things. And Roda also won the Porsche Cup in Italy a couple of years ago as well. So a huge amount of experience in Porsches over the last few years.
Listen how close to the Revlin that they're getting down the back straight every time. The blue lights ahead of us are not a police car, but in fact Tom Milner. Going down towards turn 1, it's the revs, pulling the revs. Down 3 gears into turn 1 for the GT cars, Jeremy.
Yikes.
The Corvette in the middle there is the 2nd place GT Am car. So don't worry about that one so much. Oh my goodness me, it's the 31,
wait,
the Momo
wait a
car.
minute, that's the battle for the lead, isn't it?
The leader, the Battery Tenders car. 1st and 2nd have come together.
Yes, they have. That's Nicky Tim in the 031 car, taken over from Angel Benitez Jr. And it looks like they come together coming out of turn 17. That was a battle for the lead in GTC.
And that 031 car's got right front steering damage. In comes the 023, the Alex Job Racing car. And this is going to be playing in the hands of Damien Faulkner and the 34 Green Hornet car. Oh my goodness, he's going right across the racetrack. He's got to get in the pit lane, of course. I don't think he's going to make it all the way around. I don't think he's got full steering. Look at the left-hand wheel. There's damage there. And
boy.
the Yokohama stick are flapping around from the front of the spoiler is the least of their problems. Watch the right-hand side of the screen here. Oh, it's the bump again in the middle of the corner.
What's he trying to do there?
Yeah, that front left wheel is broken. The suspension and the steering arm's broken. I've got to say, from Nicky Team, that was not a percentage move.
No, it wasn't. I mean, you're in the middle of the corner there. If you're going to be right, you've got to be that particular corner. You've got to be right alongside under braking. Clearly, he wasn't as they came through the apex of that corner.
As Dean Van Molkuk brings his 23 into the pits, they gave it a good look over. It didn't look like there was any damage. They gave him 4 fresh tires and sent him back out on his way, so it didn't look like there was any damage from that incident.
Smart that he came in though, because at this stage you could do loads more damage if you did have a problem and had to make 3 3/4 miles around the circuit. There's definitely left front suspension and steering damage to this car that goes up on its jacks, and Damien Faulkner will come around next time around and get back on the lead lap, I think. He's just a lap off it at the moment.
Yeah, and Lee Keane also, those two are actually battling as well, the 34 and the 0.22. They're battling away, just a couple of tenths of a second between those two last time around, but they were.
And that is Damien Faulkner. Here he comes. He's about to get back on the lead lap. 1 minute and 45 since he crossed the line. He's going to make up some of that time. And meantime, both of the GT AM leaders, 50 and 88, Bornhausen and Roda, have come into the pit at the same time. Danny Watts is in the pits in the 21, the Straka car. 7th place in P1, 13th overall. Alan McNish leads by something, I think, like 38 seconds. Would be about right. In P2, still half a second only between the 0.55 and the 44, João Barbosa in the level 5 car, and Stefan Sarazan in the white 44 Starworks car. And there is the leader in P2. Just low revving, turbocharged 2.8 V6.
Car bucking its way down the front straight there towards turn 1.
And there is the second place car right behind him. As out comes Patrick Bornhausen. He's taking the lead in the pit lane of GT AM. And there's the P2 battle continuing through turn number 3. Oh, no side numbers lit on the 44 Starworks car on the right-hand side at least. I think this is a fabulous battle. And they're in different races effectively. Level 5 in ALMS. WEC, of course, for the 44 Starworks car. Olivier Plas not that far behind. He's only another 12 seconds behind in the 24, which is the Oak Racing car. Generally speaking, the cars in Gulf colours haven't done too well today.
Well, not had a lot of luck, have they, on their side yet, but
even the Aston Martin had its problems, didn't it? Although that one's fought back to 10th position, still in 10th position in GT. Stefan Muckler in 32nd overall. Here's the P2 battle though, heading out into the darkness. João Barbosa, Stefan Sarazan. João Barbosa, Stefan Sarazan. I mean, that's a tough call, isn't it?
Yeah, both two tremendous drivers with a massive amount of experience in prototypes. I guess you've got to tip the hat to Stefan Sarazan, but
that was a smart hire by Peter Barron, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that is a full season hire, by the way.
Yeah.
That's not just this race and the longer events. That's a full season hire. Meantime, let's have a check back in the ever-changing world of the GT battle. Being led at the moment by Joey Hand in the 56 BMW, Tommy Milner in the 4 Corvette second, the 155 of Jörg Müller is in third, Olivier Beretta in fourth in the 71 Ferrari, and Jordan Taylor in the 03 Corvette is fifth. Mark Lieb in the 77 Porsche is in sixth, and they're within nothing at all. We're looking forward from Jörg Müller's car to the second placed Corvette.
Indeed, just ahead of him. Look at that.
Wow!
Straight line speed of the Ferrari there. But
and that's an AM Ferrari.
Yeah, that's Rui Aguas, I think, at the wheel.
61 Waltrip car. Oh, here we are, go either side of a P car, and that's the BMW. Is that losing a position? It's side by side across the line going into turn 1. This is going to be the last of the late breakers, and we're watching from the grandstand view, sitting right behind them. We could be heading into a whole load of carbon fibre here any second now. What a fantastic piece of driving by both of those guys.
Fabulous. What a great race this is turning out to be.
Just
Joey Hand here and Tommy Milner. It was Milner who got the nod there by 0.007 seconds as they crossed the line, but Joey Hand had the advantage of the inside line into turn 1 on the left-hand side of the road, and he's able to maintain that advantage just.
Bill Auberlen watching on the pit lane monitor. How is he not seeing himself on that monitor? Because he's watching the straight onboard feed is why. Thank you very much. That's why the brains are in the truck. Not watching the director's cut. Does he not realise what he's missing? There's a whole other 5 races out there. This is what Bill Auberlen was watching. The 2 cars ahead are Hand and Milner. As through goes the number 1 Audi of Andre Lotterer, just getting involved for a moment.
Yeah, there's no gap.
Oh, look at that. That's cost a bit of time to the Corvette. Listen to the revs on that BMW engine. Do you know what impresses me, Jeremy, is that they actually get quicker when it's dark. You know, that even though I love the blue lights, even though your reference points change, the engines are running more efficiently, and these guys, they don't see it as being dark, do they? It's just, you know, the track's still there.
Absolutely right. They know
wow,
exactly where they are on the racetrack.
Did you see that PC car pull up alongside and
thought better of it?
Jürgen Muller, do you think there may have been a hand gesture there to say, get out of here, I'm racing? Could watch this all night. Like some this.
Absolutely marvelous battle going on.
Someone else who's an interested spectator. Somebody else who's an interested spectator is Bill Auberlen, as we saw just a few moments ago, and Kelly is down there with him.
Well, it sounds, Bill had a question for me straight away as he's watching this onboard footage of his car up towards that number 4 Corvette. He said, heck, there's all those blue lights flashing off the back of the Corvette. It's really distracting. What is it? Which is a question I can't answer at the moment, and you guys can mull it over. But first, I'm just going to ask Billy to give us his thoughts as he's watching this battle ahead of him from the car that you're a part of.
Oh, Jorg is in the catbird seat right now. He's sitting there watching, who was that? Tommy Milner, Joey battle it out. These are good friends. They used to be teammates. They each know each other's game. I know their game. I'm just biting at the bit here, waiting for the car to come in. I'll take it over and I'll take it to the end. And this, if anybody ever said American Le Mans racing in Sebring is not exciting, they're not watching this race.
When we saw Bill, we saw you weaving your way through traffic earlier on your last stint. You expect to have more of that ahead of you as you bring it into the finish?
Let's hope I can weave my way to the front. Normally, you just let the Rahal guys do a pit stop. It will amaze you. They always get us to the front, and then it makes your life a lot easier.
All right, so John and Jeremy, do we have an answer for Billy here and the crew as to the blue lights flashing off the back of that Corvette?
It's there to distract people coming up to overtake them, clearly.
Now, they have this laser distance sensor system, don't they, on the Corvettes? Is it something to do with that?
No idea.
No, I'm not sure, honestly.
They say it's really
cool.
Just to distract the BMW.
It's just to annoy Bill.
Thanks, Kelly. It's good to see that everybody is taking so much interest in what's going on. Now, behind those leading 3 cars, first, second and third, Han, Milner and Muller, there is Beretta, Taylor and Lieb. Now, where was Taylor in that lot? He's in the pit lane. He's in the pit lane. So when Jordan Taylor came in the pit lane, it's not showing on the timing screen, but that is definitely Beretta and Lieb. And there's no Jordan Taylor there at all in the 03 Corvette. I'm just checking to see if either of the other Corvettes are shown in pit lane. No, they have not.
That's
well, they all pitted together, so this is tricky strategy. They're taking
it's out of sequence for certain for Jordan Taylor.
Okay. There is the 03. He's heading down to the hairpin.
He certainly wasn't due a pit stop. But both Olivier Beretta and Jordan Taylor, they've been losing a little bit of ground to those 3 leaders over the last few laps.
And there he is, the 03, so that wasn't him in the pit there. And he's got yellow flashing lights on that car. Oh, just let's do this. And there is Beretta and Lee.
Is that the Lizard?
Fighting through.
Lizards.
Look at the difference in the headlights there than what we saw earlier on from Alan McNish's car. It's quite a dirty lens as well, in fact, on the onboard, in fairness.
Nothing like the same. Isn't it incredible the difference in what light we can see out of there compared to the...
GT cars have to have yellow headlights as well, of course, and that actually does affect what you can see out of
on the camera.
Yeah,
particularly. He can see. Trust me, he can see a little bit more, at least, than what we can see. In
foggy conditions, the yellow headlights actually work.
Yeah,
really well. Fog and rain. I think that in
I think so.
Front of them, that is Olivier Beretta, and Mark Lieb still then must be behind him. So let's check them as they go across the line. Beretta, Taylor, and Lieb. Yeah. Thank you very much. So we got all excited for nothing, but you know, when has that been a problem? What's thrown us out there is there's another AF Corsa Ferrari right in the mix, in between Lieb and the back of Taylor, and that's what's thrown us out there. So that's a rookie mistake from Hindhaugh, and I apologise for that. Can you believe people are starting to leave? So look at the 4 cars going in the braking area now. The first car is Olivier Beretta in the 71 AF Corsa Ferrari. He is in 4th position. The second car is Jordan Taylor. The third car is extraneous to this battle, and I believe it's another one of the Ferraris, the AF Corsa car. Yes, it is. So the 4th car in that line then is the 77 of Mark Lee.
No, he's fallen back a bit over the last few years. He's fallen 4 or 5 seconds behind this pair.
Right, he has. That was a lizard, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but still, he's still only about 4 seconds or so behind that pair.
Well, when we started to look at this battle, they were all within a second of each other. So he's dropped back. There he is, and he's pushing hard.
Yep.
So let's go back to the head of the P2 field, where João Barbosa has got all of half a second on Stefan Sarazan. And that light that you can see on the left-hand side of the screen there, see that bright white light? That is Stefan Sarazan in the Starworks 44 car.
And we talked about the JRM team working hard to get that car ready for the race here. Well, of course, the Starworks guys have been doing exactly the same thing. They flew, John Bright actually, who's been around this sport a long time, he flew over to help them put that car together because he's worked with Nick Worth's organisation on and off for several years. He was with Highcroft the last few years as well, so he knows a lot about putting cars together, and he's an old buddy of Peter Barron as well, so he helped to build this car. He went home to John at the beginning of this week and left the guys to come up here, and he didn't want to get roped into any major rebuilds or anything during the week, which he's had to do before, so he figured if he left here they'd have better luck, and that's exactly what's going on at the moment. They're doing a super job. This is a great battle going on for the lead in P2, just as it is in the battle for GT as well.
As they went across the line, there was a whole second between João Barbosa and that car there, and there's one of the reasons. It was the leading GTM car, Julien Canal, who...
One of the two, yeah.
No, it was the 50 car, absolutely. Paolo Roberti is second in that GTM category in the second felt, which is a decent race for Feldman
by a massive 2.4 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's hardly worth talking about in the context of what's going on here. The battles are so close. Just a quick note on the GTC. Dion von Moltke has returned to the phrase we saw in the 023 after the conflagration earlier on. But we have got Damien Faulkner now closing in, and he's only 26 seconds away in second place, with Lee Keane just another 3 seconds behind him in the 022. So Damien Faulkner in between the 2 Alex Job racing cars, first, second and third in GTC, separated by less than half a minute. At the head of the field, Tom Christensen. Well, we haven't talked about him for a while. mainly because he's kind of making his escape. 55 seconds now at the head of the field. There are your other leaders, and we'll have a little more Sebring history as we go to 1985.
With prototypes gaining reliability, a repeat win by a GT car was highly improbable, but another upset was in store at Sebring in 1984. An impressive number of entries was received, with several GTP cars highlighting the 81-car grid. A Jaguar XJR5 driven by Brian Redman dominated early in the race, but by the 4th hour, A.J. Foyt, co-driving with Derek Bell and Bob Wallach, took the lead in their Porsche 935. But in the final hours, the race began to resemble the previous year, as virtually every contender hit mechanical gremlins. The Porsche 935 of Maurizio De Navarrese, Hans Heyer, and Stefan Johansson would eventually take the checkered flag. Amazingly, the car was rented from the Yost Racing team in Germany, where it was actually in a museum when called into service. The team was a last-minute entry, and their victory was yet another major upset in America's greatest sports car race.
Turns one of its models into a race car, they have to add power. But when Chevrolet wanted to race the 638 horsepower Corvette ZR1 against Porsche, Ferrari, and BMW, we were asked to dial it back. Oh, about 168 horsepower. You know, just to be fair.
Duck. Duck. Goose.
Our technology builds some of the best tires in the world, because when it comes to performance, we don't just play around.
Cheater, we said no 360s.
Who's up for some leapfrog?
When it comes to fun family getaways, it's got to be Holiday Inn Club Vacations. Room to be yourself.
The American Le Mans Series, presented by Tequila Patron, the fusion of man, mind, and machine in the ultimate test, where the fight for first is around every corner and the sole focus of every driver. It's 100% adrenaline, because the battle for the win is everything. And there's only one place in North America to see the thrills of Le Mans. It's the American Le Mans Series, presented by Tequila Patron. Coming at you on ABC, ESPN2, and ESPN3.
It's just so atmospheric. It's an overused word, and we've used it many times already this week, but what else can you say about a race that has 60 years of history, a great feeling, a great party going on, and one of the world's truly great motor races? It's an event of the very best kind. You might even say it's a happening. And we have an hour and 43 minutes of it left to go for Sebring 2012. Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhaugh, as Tom Christensen reels off lap 271. Distance record not in jeopardy, having had 11 full course cautions so far. Will we get the round dozen? I really hope not. It would be nice to get this to run to the end. Loic Duval in second place is still well behind his, you'd say now, have to say now, his team leader. Audi deciding to pit him on a different strategy, which cost him a lot of real estate. A quiet but interesting run to third place, and at the moment that's Muscle Milk that are in third position. Lucas Luhr, and that has been pretty impressive, Jeremy, to be honest.
Yeah, it certainly has. I mean, you know, they've not done a lot of testing with that car. First time it turned a wheel pretty much was here at the winter test. Yeah, well, it was pretty much. It was the first time it turned a wheel, and that was about a month ago. They've done another test here since then, but not an awful lot of miles. But that's the way it is with HPD. It seems that you never get the cars too much in advance of the first race, but it doesn't seem to matter because the cars seem to run extremely well. Unfortunately, the JRM team had a bit of a problem. But the other cars here for HPD are really running strongly in both classes, both in P1 and in P2.
There is the P2 leader, Joao Barbosa, with a 0.2 of a second lead on Stefan Sarazan.
And Olivier Pla's closing in as well. He's now got that gap down in third place to about 12 seconds. And then there's Julien Jousse in the Pescarolo car, which is a P1 car, in between him and Sohail Ayari, who's not quite keeping pace with the other three at this stage of the race, which is a little bit of a surprise because that number 49 car for Pecom Racing has been fast, but apparently right now not able to keep up with the other cars in that class. So it's becoming, we've got that two-car battle out in front, and then the pole-sitting car, Olivier Pla, for the number 24 team of Oak Racing, running very, very strongly in third place. And the last few laps, Olivier Pla has been a little bit quicker than the other two that are battling for the lead.
Look at that, that's very close indeed. In amongst that white light in there is that battle we were talking about. Round the outside, trying to do it the long way around. That's a very brave thing to do, but Stefan Sarazan is very brave.
Yeah, his fellow Frenchman there, two Frenchmen battling it out. Oh no, sorry, what am I talking about? It's Joao Barbosa.
Yeah, you're thinking of Pla and Sarazan.
I thought it was Christophe Beauchou, but of course it's not. It's Joao Barbosa who's driving an 055 car, but Sarazan there. He had certainly a good look, but I think he realised that if there was any contact between the two, he was the one who was going to come off worst there. So decides that discretion, the better part of valour. There's still, an hour and 40 minutes to go, so there's plenty of time to go in this race, and more pit stops yet to come.
In the GT battle, finally someone's blinked, and it's BMW. Rick?
Well, talking with both teams, they both say they have 2 more pit stops that they need to do. Now they've come in, this is the first of those 2 stops. I noticed that on the left rear, one of the mechanics raced in, was checking something inside, but other than that, a very clean, smooth move. They did not change drivers, that's the only thing.
What I would suggest is one more stint then for Jörg Müller, and then swap him out for the end. What you're trying to do here, Jeremy, is get your pit stops done as quickly as you can, so you don't get caught on the wrong side of a pace car, aren't you?
Yeah, and that's interesting they should choose to come in now, because they certainly wouldn't need to make a pit stop at this stage. They're only in 16 laps ago, so there was certainly no, that's an off strategy pit call there. I think what they're doing,
one more after this,
exactly, and then they can get to the end. And if there's a full course caution, that will play into their favour. So a smart move there. They realise now they can get to the end of the race on one more pit stop and get that stop done. Rick?
Yeah, down here with the core car. This was the car they thought was going to be leading today. However, it is now in third place. This is the 05 car. Once again, Core is the team. Colin Brown in the cockpit. Colin Brown, you remember, started off his career with sports cars, then drifted off into the NASCAR world. Had some degree of success over there, but didn't go the way he wanted. Now he is back in sports cars. This is what he's doing this year for sure, and he is in this car doing very well today, but still in third place. They got a long way to go if they want to catch up, and the problem is they have to catch up to their own teammates.
Start up. Clear 2.
That was the third place car in PC that Rick was talking about there. Now back to the leaders in P2. Joao Barbosa, discovered by Martin Short in the Rule Centre Deutsche Bank's X-Markets team.
In sports car terms, certainly.
Yes, absolutely. Gave him a shot, reinvigorated his career, didn't he? Well done, Short.
When he first came over here to do some Atlantic before that, and you could see the talent, the talent was there. And hats off to Martin Short for picking him up and giving him an opportunity in the sports car ranks.
No, Martin is listening to us, watching on the syndicated feed to Europe, having a bit of a party, as a number of people are over in Europe, watching the start of the International Sports Car Series on ACO Racing. So hello to Martin and Michelle. And we're going to see Rule Centre back in ACO Racing is the question I'll always pose to Martin. Oh, hello. Now we're into some interest because the battle in P2 is into the battle in GT, combining two of our themes this evening.
Wow.
There is the 55, the 055, excuse me.
See the lights?
Yeah, that'll be the Audi.
Oh yeah.
Now where is the Starworks car? Look to the right hand side, those white lights, there it is. So the Audi's got amongst that and broken that little P2 battle up for the moment. And Sarrazin, who was less than 0.2 of a second behind just a couple of laps ago, is now more than 2 seconds behind. And he will be cursing in French underneath that helmet visor.
Yeah, he was a loser in that little exchange. And meanwhile, Olivier Pla is now within about 9 seconds of Stefan Sarrazin. So Olivier Pla is closing in. 1 minute 53.4 last time around. Joao Barbosa, a 1:56. So almost 3 seconds closer for Olivier Pla.
In talking with Peter Barron, the team owner for that 44 from Starworks Motorsports, they're the only team from the United States who are doing the full season of the WEC. And he said, you know, coming in as the new guys, a lot of people would say we just want to survive Sebring, but that is not the case for them. Even though they have not had much time with that car, their goal from the beginning is the championship. They have done everything that they can do in order to do well here this weekend, and logistically for that team, it's a huge advantage that the first race of the WEC is here at Sebring because they are based in Florida, so that helped them out as a team. But they are looking at the big picture here, and they're telling Stefan Sarrazin, you've got to stay calm, you got to stay cool, and we need to get some points.
Very good point.
Yeah, you've got to drive wiser, to paraphrase Love Will Save the Day.
And this is the only American team, it's the only American prototype team concentrating on the WEC, because Tracy Krone, of course, Krone Racing is concentrating also on the WEC in the GTE AM category. And during the summer, that Starworks car is going to be based in Europe, actually in Cardiff, which is not exactly where we would think a centre of the motor racing industry in the UK.
But there's a reason for that.
Yes, there is.
And that is because one of the guys that works for them has already got a workshop there, and in fact has they run a Super League Formula team out of there, or was it a A1 GP team? It was something relatively sensible. So they have a known facility there with one of the guys that's working. So they're moving to Cardiff in South Wales, and which is a great party city, and I'm sure how much work will get done. And then they'll be able to use that as a stepping off point to Spa, Le Mans, and of course Silverstone before the flyaway races for WEC for the rest of the year. They're all closing back up again. There's the 44, and he's got by him. The 44's got by him, and now leads the motor race. Let's just check to see we've got that the right way around, because there's several black cars around that. Is that now the 055 car that's behind him? That is certainly an HPD that's tucked in behind him from the rear lights. Well done to Stefan Sarrazin. Pulled that 2 seconds back very, very quickly, and there is the confirmation. And it's happened on the front stretch. And as you can see, Joao Barbosa there just getting a little bit ragged. He's dropped away. So just on an hour and a half to run, 93 minutes still to go. Christensen leads. And all of a sudden, Joao Barbosa is dropping back. Pit stops due for both of those cars, and the Starworks car something in the region of 3 laps away from its penultimate stop.
Joey Hand turned a 2 minutes .394 a couple of laps ago, leading the class in GT.
Here's how the P2 category lead changed. Watch on the right hand side for a set of bright white lights, followed by a white car. Keep watching. There he goes. That's a straight drag past. So that was Barbosa not getting out of 17 at all.
I think there was an Audi that perhaps got past him, I think, going into the corner, so his line perhaps was compromised going into that corner, and that enabled Sarrazin to get the run onto the front straight away.
It's not a high revving engine, that HP DP2 engine, because it's based on a stock block that you find in minivans. It's very clever actually, because it can't be used as a stressed member on its own, so it has to be put in a clipped cradle. But I'm thinking that Barbosa is maybe shifting up very, very early. There's the shift lights now, and he's right on it there. Just watch up to the right-hand side of the screen where you can see his hand at the moment. See the green lights? Shift. Shift. Now that seems to be pulling, but I'm wondering if he's maybe got a little bit of tyre trouble at the back end because the car's moving around a little more.
Yeah, maybe. I just fancy he just lost a bit of momentum going through that corner, and that's what enabled. I think, Sarrazin had been all over his tail, hasn't he?
Yeah,
maybe he was potentially a little bit quicker. We'll find that out over the course of the next few laps, perhaps. But
it's going to get broken up by pit stops, of course. Sarrazan's due in a couple, maybe 3. It's not pulling its revs quickly in that top gear. It's not pulling that top gear at all. Look, there's no revs there until he shifts back down again. Not revving freely is what I would say on that car. And Sarrazan's done a 53.9, Barbosa a 55.1. I'm not sure, Jeremy. I think he's either changed his driving style and have told him to save fuel, or he has got a little bit of a problem. And as if by magic, I get the word from the pits that Stefan Sarrazin will pit next lap.
Well, all of the leaders in P2 all stopped on the same lap last time around during that caution period, so we'll see how that pans out. Whether we're going to come in together or whether somebody's going to manage to eke out another lap or two. It's certainly good now for Stefan Sarrazin to put the hammer down and try and get a little bit of an advantage as he comes into the pits.
Well, like any form of motor racing, your in-lap and your out-lap, absolutely crucial. The 34 Green Hornets with Damon Faulkner had a spin in turn 17 and coasts into the pit lane.
And that cost him second place in GTC to Lee Keen in the 022 car.
I wonder if he's in tyre trouble as well. Everybody's pushing
they came together.
Very hard. That's a good point. Sarrazin will have to do one more stop, or at least when I say Sarrazin, I mean the Starworks car. Because they can't, if they come in next lap around, there's no way they can go to the end from here.
No, they'll probably hand over, I would imagine, to Ryan DL.
Now, as Damien pulls into the pit stop, watch right in the background. He's gone off very early in the
car
corner.
Over there, there's another car to the left of that as well.
Well, on board with Damien. Look to the left-hand side. To the right-hand side, is there anyone coming? He turns in. Oh, yes, he got nailed. He got nailed by a Ferrari. That was a 458. And Faulkner gets nailed and costs him second place in class. That will be one unhappy Irishman as the look of that aisle runs out for him on St. Patrick's Day. So who was that? If that Ferrari can be identified, that is undoubtedly a stop and go.
In P2, meanwhile, the Sohaila AR in car number 49 has just made a pit stop. Olivier Pla, third place in that class. He is on pit lane at the moment.
So he is.
And we're expecting Stefan Sarrazin in next time around.
Now Damien needs to put his lights on. No, he's got no rear lights, but he's got fronts by the look of it. And the lead in GT has just changed. Wow. And there's the confirmation. That's a Corvette leading. So Joey Hand has given up the lead in category, fighting so hard he was earlier on. And Tom Milner has gone through. These two have eked out an 18-second lead from Olivier Beretta now in third place, and Jordan Taylor, Mark Lieb in fifth ahead of Jörg Muller. But remember, Muller has pitted off strategy.
Yeah, and these other two leaders, we're pretty sure, still have to make two more pit stops. A full stop and a splash in a GT.
So new GT leader, and The crowd go wild in the Corvette pit. I'm not sure they know yet until the timing screen won't change till they cross the line. Here's the onboard. Look on the left-hand side here. This is the leading BMW. And again, a pass made really early and actually before the braking area.
Yeah, absolutely right. It was the straight line speed of the Corvette there. So again, maybe Joey Hand was somehow compromised coming off turn 17, because we heard, who was it, one of the Corvette drivers earlier on telling us that they felt that the...
Ollie Gavin.
Ollie Gavin, wasn't it? They're saying the Corvettes were not as quick as their competition on the straights.
Well, that just looks like sheer speed. I mean, it's difficult to miss a gig nowadays, but...
They don't have a push-to-pass button, do they, in these cars? Super. What a great job though Tommy Milner has done. I mean, that really is magnificent. He's really stepped it up this year. I'm not going to say he struggled last year, his first season with Corvette, but I know he was a little bit disappointed in what he was able to do in his first year with that team, but he's really stepped it up over the winter.
And if you're enjoying this now, don't forget we will be watching that GT battle all year long here on ESPN in the American Le Mans Series, both of those cars there. Let's get down to Rick De Bruyne. There seems to be some concern in the Corvette pit as we're watching Tom Christensen get ready to roll on his penultimate pit stop. Rick.
Well, the actual confusion, Oliver Gavin just wants to know if he's in the lead. But here's the big question. You are in the lead. Your number 4 car is in the lead. What do you have for those BMWs in this last stint? Because it's going to turn into a sprint.
It's going to be pretty crazy. I've got to go.
All right, they're going to go ahead. They're going to bring him in. So now it's time to go. Obviously, Oliver Gavin getting ready to go get in the car for his last stint.
Wow.
And once again, the question comes down to, this is an endurance race. We've been racing for more than 10 hours. But with this GT battle, it's coming down to the most basic sprint. And there'll probably be one more pit stop after this.
Now, here's the point. Corvette now have had to react to the fact that the other BMW pitted early. They've got the lead at the moment, but they can't lose out on tactics if a yellow flag comes out. They're in the window for 2 more pit stops, so they've got to get one of them done right now. And then they have the flexibility of taking their last one. And I think that's what they're doing now. This is a smart move by Pratt & Miller and the Corvette racing team. Ollie Gavin, the tall fella, former Formula 1 pace car driver, British Formula 3 champion in 1995. Is that right?
No, it wasn't 95, I think, but it was around about then.
BRDC Autosport Young Driver of the Year in just his first season of competitive racing. He did British F3 in 93 and 95, I thought. And he did a season of that 3000 thing in the middle of it, which didn't go too well. Here is the 4 Corvette. And he heads in along pit lane. So Ollie Gavin is waiting for him. Oh, and damage to the left rear wheel of the 031 cars that came in. And that's a sentence I've said to myself before. That's the grey of the Momo cars. Don't step over, and go. And there's a well-oiled machine. It all goes to work. Rick De Bruyne.
Oliver Gavin goes to get into the car. His job now is to try to get back in the lead. Now, unlike the last time that they came in and they made their pit stops all together, these are green flag stops. The 55 came in first because they were at the back of the queue. The 56 car has already come in and made its stop and moved back to 5th. Now they're going to go ahead and change tires, put in fuel, make a driver change for the very last stint for this number 4 car. But once again, as I said before, where they all were racing each other out of the pits, now they're trying to get it done as quickly as possible, and we'll see where he rejoins the fray.
So, I got half a story there right. It's been a long day. We saw the scrambled reaction of getting Ollie in the car while Rick was talking to him. They'd taken the lead. As soon as they lost the lead, there's the BMW going through. That is now the lead car. As soon as the BMW lost the lead, they brought in the 56 car, and that's the 155 that came in earlier, and that's why Corvette had to cover them. And that's why Ollie was quickly dragged away. Now these guys are now sitting in 5th, 6th and 7th in class at the moment with Jörg Müller. So that's interesting. I think Ollie's got out in front of the 56 car. but the 56 car will have tyre temperature, whereas Ollie won't. Look back down the road. Jörg Müller was 5th as he went across the line. So this is going to be very interesting indeed, because these guys are playing the strategy. Here's Joey Hand. So he is behind. That is running down towards the hairpin. He's just coming through. No, that's the far side of the circuit. So as the timing and scoring resets itself, we'll find that Olivier Beretta will be in the lead in the 71AF Corsa, but still needs to make 2 pit stops. Now I'm going to go with this at the moment. In second place will be Jordan Taylor in the 03 Corvette, still having to make 2 stops. Those two, by the way, battling, only 8/10 of a second between them. Mark Lieb is 14 seconds further back in third place, still having to make 2 pit stops. Then it should be 1:55 Müller, 1 stop to go, then 4 Ollie Gavin, 1 stop to go, and then 56 Joey Hand, 1 stop to go. What the worry will be for those 3 cars who've stopped early is if any one of those cars ahead of them, 71 or 3 or 77, can go long enough to make it on just 1 more pit stop. But I don't think that's going to be the case. But then again, I'm rubbish at mathematics, so quite remarkable. Look, this is a chess game played at 160 miles an hour. Action and reaction coming from the pit wall, Jeremy.
Yeah, it's tremendous, isn't it? And the strategy we talked about at the top of the show, strategy and patience, the 2 keys here to success. But it's the gloves are off right now. This is really down to the nitty-gritty in this race. It's a question now of extracting the maximum potential from these cars in the closing stages. They've been flat out for 10.5 hours.
Oh no, this is 4th place, Nicolas Prost. This is the 12 Rebellion. The 13 car, he's got a problem with the right front of that car. He's either got a puncture or a problem with the front wheel. I can see something fluttering there. Has he got a
little bit of drive at least?
Has he got a clutch problem or something like that? He's still clearly got fire in the hole because the engine is still running. He will not be.
Is that on the starter motor? I mean, he's just sort of lurching the car forward a little bit. He's still got a long way to go to the end of the
underneath the car on the where the right front wheel is. It's almost like it's jiggling around a little bit. Yeah, it is. It is.
Is that just a reflection? Yeah, maybe right. Yeah.
That's what I could see before. So this is second place, GT, Jordan Taylor. Olivier Beretta is out in the darkness somewhere at a gap of about a 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds as through goes the Starworks car, I think. It's a very dirty camera lens now. That shows you we normally get our cameras lenses clean, but when we can't, it gives you a really good representation of what the drivers can see if they can't get the windscreen cleaned. Now there is the 71. That's the red Ferrari with the tricolor stripe down the middle of it. Oh, lot of by Beretta, goes a little wide. Feeling the pressure from behind now from Jordan Taylor. Now this is for the lead of class, but these 2 guys, unless they've really got something in the tank, they've got to stop twice. And there are 3 cars behind them that have only got to stop once. Mark Lieb is playing an interesting game at the moment. He's sitting back at about 16 seconds now.
Yeah, and we saw a little bit.
Only needs to go another. Sorry, Jeremy. These guys only need to go though about another 15 minutes to do it on 1 more stop.
That's right, a caution period now.
Oh.
And it's not inconceivable that they could get to the end on just 1 more pit stop. And with that Rebellion car just limping very, very slowly down that back straightaway, one wonders whether it's going to be able to make it around that corner and either to safety or to the pit lane.
I feel really bad for the Rebellion guys, Bart Hayden and the team. They work so hard. They have been really stalwarts of the European and now the world. I mean, stepping up to the World Championship for a privateer team. We've said this all the way through the broadcast, and it appears that Nicolas Prost has got problems in the dying embers of this fantastically interesting race. And I just feel that that is, the racing gods have not played fair with those guys today. So that battle in GT not over, and not over tactically either. There's Lieb. That's Mark Lieb, is it, getting in amongst that, or is that the 88 car? And Paolo Roberti, the two Felbermeyer cars, save for the numbers, are pretty much identical. And that is Beretta in the red Ferrari. Well, that must be Roberti. There's no way that Mark Lieb has closed up that quickly. And indeed, that is the case. And Paolo Roberti dutifully moves aside, not to get involved in the battle at the head of the GT field. Still never found out which Ferrari it was that nailed Faulkner, did we?
No, we didn't.
There is the 03 of Jordan Taylor. Interestingly, that's only got one light lit down the side on this side, hasn't it? So that's not working right either. So what has
I'd like it to be
Ollie Gavin? Ah, well, of course, Ollie Beretta is a WEC car, so maybe they're not running the same light system. No wonder I've been confused.
Should be, shouldn't it?
Well, you would have thought so, but maybe they're not quite working the same. Well, that's the gap between first and second, but both of these guys have got to make 2 pit stops unless they can go 15 minutes. And then perhaps, just perhaps, they can make it on 1. There's still plenty of questions to be answered. And every time I ask one, I find myself with more questions than what I've been able to answer myself. There's your leaders. We'll be back with the conclusion here on ESPN from Sebring.
Everything we ever thought up. Everything we fight for. Everything we dream of. Everything we are. The new 911. Porsche Identity.
To get 40 miles per gallon, most car makers compromise performance. But we're Mazda, and we don't compromise. The Mazda 3 with SkyActiv technology gets 40 miles per gallon highway without economy buttons or compromising how it drives. We build Mazdas. What do you drive? Now get the Mazda 3 with 0.9% APR for a limited term.
Be the first to wear the latest trends of the American Le Mans Series presented by Tequila Patron. The official photo or poster t-shirts are available in 5 different colors, or you can purchase Roger Warwick's t-shirt featuring the past 59 Sebring winners. Also, don't forget to grab the 60th annual Sebring event poster and stop by the paddock to get all your favorite driver signatures. The ALMS merchandising booth will be selling all of your favorite limited edition Sebring items throughout the day. And for those of you at home, be sure to check out ALMS.com to purchase your piece of Sebring history.
Well, I really just don't know what's going to happen in the next hour and 13 minutes. At the head of the field, Tom Christensen leads by an increasing margin. He's driving away from his teammate. Well, in fact, as I say that, of course, Timo makes a liar out of me by taking a second or so back from him last lap round, but that's the first time he has done for a while. Simon Pagenaud still in 3rd place. Julian Juste for Pescarolo. Remember, this is the 3-year-old Pescarolo that's in 4th place, having benefited from the disaster that was the I'm afraid the 12 Rebellion slowing down in 4th position. And then this great battle for P2 on us.
Yeah, which has rather petered out since that round of pit stops, because Stefan Zarazan now has a handy lead of a dozen seconds or so, I think, or perhaps more than that, over Olivier Pla, who's moved into 2nd place, and Joao Barbosa, all of a sudden in that level 5 car number 055, has fallen back quite a long way. He's about 21 seconds between 1st and 2nd in the class. And now Joao Barbosa, he's only, about 3 seconds behind Pla, but he's got an awful lot of ground to make up if he's going to get back to the top of the leaderboard in the P2 class. But they are now running in 5th and 6th and 7th places overall. Sohail Ayari in car number 49 is also running pretty strongly in that class, and trying to, well, he's in 4th place but not really in contention to challenge Joao Barbosa. Then rounding out the top 10, we've got Stephen Kane now driving the 016 car for Dyson Racing, again for a brand new car. That car's run very, very nicely indeed. And in 10th place overall and 5th place in P2, it's Ricardo Gonzalez who's driving the Greaves Motorsports car number 41. So again, a good run, I think, for that team on its debut, for that trio of drivers on its debut in the WEC in P2. PC battle, meanwhile, EJ Vizo is still leading that class in the 06 car for Core Autosport. Rudy Junco has taken over the wheel of the number 52 PR1 Matheson Motorsports car. He's about a half a minute behind in 2nd place, and Colin Brown in the 2nd of the Core Autosports car number 05. 3rd place, I think, still 1 lap down to the 2 leaders in PC.
There is Tom Christensen.
288 to be completed.
Minute and 34. In fact, it can't be that far behind Timor. Now, in danger, Timor, of getting a lap put on him. And made an extra pit stop. So it was Loic Duval, wasn't it? And that is looking forward from the number 2 Audi of Christensen. And look at the headlights. Look at the headlights flashing. Tom. He's made the pass down into 7. Don't pull back out. That's the 44. Stefan Saras in the P2 lead, who's just gone by. Saracen wasn't awfully keen on giving him the road there. So good.
Yeah, this. Still got an hour and just less than an hour and 10 minutes to go, and still in GT. We haven't seen.
Just going to say that.
Olivier Beretta, neither he nor Jordan Taylor have been into the pits. I'm wondering whether the number 71 car of Olivier Beretta, whether the AF Corsa team are just starting to back off the pace a little bit and try and get it to the end with that one less stop. I think that generally speaking, the cars can do a bit over an hour, maybe an hour and 5 minutes. On a full tank of fuel.
I tell you what, this has been a chess game that is changing all night. I'm down here in the Corvette pit with 03, that car that Jordan Taylor is driving. They were originally going to bring him in about 5 or 10 laps ago, changed their mind. They've been decided they're simply going to drag it down all the way to the very end. They were just telling him a moment ago, as soon as you get that fuel warning light, even if it's in the very last turn and you can't give us much warning, bring the car in. They really were hoping for a yellow or something, might be able to extend it out so they get that last stop and only have to do one more stop. As it is now, if they stop right now, they may have to do one more.
Well, Felbermeyer have blinked. There's no more in the tank for Mark Lieb. He's out of the car. And I think that is... Can they go an hour and 8 in a Porsche?
I don't think so.
I think
about an hour and 5 minutes, I think, is about the limit. Yeah, but it's awfully close, certainly. But certainly I think we've seen the Ferrari get slightly better fuel consumption than the Corvette.
Bit of oil going into the back under pressure of that Porsche. They only need a couple of laps of caution.
Well, that's the thing, and if there is a caution, then it will be more than a couple of laps, and that should make the difference. And so they should be able then to get to the end of the race with just this final stop here for the Porsche, and also therefore for the Corvette that is currently in second place for Jordan Taylor, car number 03, and the 71 Ferrari of Olivier Beretta.
Sasha Masson has just come into the pits in the 48 Paul Miller Racing Porsche as well. Should just mention that the Aston Martin is recovered from losing a wheel. Darren Turner back at the wheel now of the 32 car. Hello to Paul Dunk, who was asking us about the progress of that car up at Aston Martin in Derby in the UK, watching the international syndication from ESPN, as I know many of you are in Europe, where it's early hours of the morning. Nobody from the Twitter feeds seemingly wanting to leave this one, and I don't blame you at all. Christensen leads by still over 90 seconds, over a minute and a half from Bernard, then Pagenaud in third place for Muscle Milk, Julian Schuss in the Pescarolo in fourth position. Stefan Sarazan now 25 seconds ahead of second place Olivier Pla in the Oak Racing P2 second place machine.
Just got a glance there at the JDX Porsche, the gold car running in GTC. That was leading the class early on. Kevin Estra and Chris Cumming and who's the third driver? Getting late in the day, isn't it? Mark Bullitt, pseudonym, but Mark Bullitt in the number 11 car. They had a problem. They lost quite a lot of ground there, but they were running very, very strong in the early stages of the race. But I reckon it's got to be very, very close now for a pit stop, particularly for the 03 car of Jordan Taylor, second place currently in GT.
Well, Rick has based himself down there so that as soon as we see any movement, we'll get the call. We're also listening to the team radio, and you heard what he said. If there's a fuel light, get in! Is, I'm sure, paraphrasing what was said. Beretta's done a good job, you know.
Yep.
He made the switch to Ferrari, long-time Corvette driver, lapping in the 203s, the low 203s in the moment.
The most successful driver in ALMS, 41 wins, class wins admittedly, out of his 104 previous starts in the American Le Mans Series. He also holds the record for poles as well at 23. He's a veteran these days. He's still only 42 years of age though, which is fairly amazing. He does seem to have been around forever.
Yeah, he schooled me at Paul Ricard driving the Orica Viper as it was then with the edge pattern gearbox straight after its win at Le Mans.
But let go by Corvette over the winter, and is he out to prove a point? You betcha.
Yeah, they'll have to crowbar him out of the car. He's driven well. I mean, they all have in that set. I mean, the Ferraris looked like they were all self-destructing earlier on.
Yeah.
And big shocks coming through in the first hour of the race.
Jordan Taylor, though, what a stunning drive. He's
other end of the age spectrum.
Yeah,
from
there you go.
Beretta.
20 years of age only, and a very, very mature 20 years of age in and out of the car. And look at him there. He's only 20 yards behind. That is a battle for first and second.
Now, a point being made by Jim Roller in the truck in my left ear. Beretta's still clearly a very good driver now. How good was he when he was younger? Well, he was knocking on the door of Formula One, tested Formula One. And for LaRousse, yeah. I remember at that test that I did with the Viper, which we won't talk too much about because it didn't end well for the Viper. Well, not for the right-hand rear. Not for the right-hand rear light cluster. Everything else was fine, honest. He was telling me about testing F1 cars at Ricard.
Yeah.
And, you know, the guy was just another one of these people that didn't get the brakes, didn't get the look.
No, but he's made a fabulous career for himself in the sports cars. And here come the two leaders.
And I think that's one of the Audis coming in as well. Is that the Trelliway car coming in behind them? Yes, it is. So it's back to the pit crew. The AF Corsa car stops first, and Jamie is there.
Yes, the 71 has come to a stop on pit road. Olivier Beretta will stay in the car. The team has given him a fresh drink bottle. They're also going to give him a fresh set of Michelin tires and fuel. His teammate, the number 51, is on the pitch right in front of him. 51, the fuel went in much faster on the 5-1. The 7-1 still fueling. It's a very long fuel stop. This team is doing everything perfectly right now, trying not to make any mistakes. They have practiced these pit stops. They watched the video in the off-season. These are different pit rules than what they're used to, but they're doing this perfectly. Clean stop for the 71, Rick de Brule.
And just up pit lane, the same story for the Corvettes. Jordan Taylor finally bringing it in, handing over to the closer, Jan Magnussen. Magnussen in the car, the crew going about. I can tell you they were very pumped, pumping hands before they went out there to do this.
It's going to be close.
Their goal to do it fast, to do efficient, and get him out as quickly as possible. They got a problem. He starts to back up instead of moving forward. It costs him just a second or two, but every second right now is critical, but he still does beat out the Ferrari.
Even putting the car into reverse, they still beat them out. I think a mistake there from AF Corsa. That 51 car in front of the 71 hampered the 71 coming out, costed fractions of a second, and there was just a moment that the car stuttered as well. But Jan Magnussen, how close was that? Look at this though, straight away, pouncing, going straight back through and into the lead. That is an amazing move. What was Jan Magnussen doing? Is he struggling with his belts? Is there a problem? Because he was caught napping there, Jeremy.
Yeah, that you do not expect from somebody of Jan Magnussen's stature. Well, he's a little guy, but experience. I mean, he is a tremendous driver, and for him to make two mistakes in a space of about 15 seconds, first of all, he had it in reverse instead of forward gear, instead of first gear, going out of the pit lane, and then he braked very, very early for turn 3, and now he's found himself pushed out wide there at turn 7 as well. That's not a good first lap for Jan Magnussen. He has got a lot of ground to make up now on this man, Olivier Beretta.
And these guys will be able to go, I think, from here all the way down. And Beretta's got sandwiched between two P cars going into that corner. Did he get out of it? Can we see the headlights in the distance and the taillights? Yes, we can. Well, that must have been a hard-stopping moment.
Let's not forget, I think they're all going to come out behind the battle that's going on, that was behind them. I think Jörg Müller is going to take over the lead of the class in GT. But they're on different strategy. We know that
they've got to stop again.
Yes, exactly. The 155 car for sure is going to stop again. I fancy now, with just an hour to go, that the 03 and the 71 might be able to make it.
Yes, when I was talking about the lead, I'm talking about the potential lead after the pit stops. My apologies, you're absolutely right. Jörg Müller in the 155 BMW now leads the class. He's just crossed the line, 11 seconds ahead of Joey Hand, the second of the RLL BMWs in second. Ollie Gavin has come into the pits in the number 4 car, so they're pitting now to go to the end, and this again is tactics. They're doing this pit stop now so that if there's any problems with the safety car, they don't get caught the wrong side of it. Rick de Bruyl.
That is exactly the strategy. Try to do it as early as possible. You've got as long a stint as possible. They're making a sway bar adjustment in the back. That's the only thing that's holding it up. The car's down. They're trying to figure out why they're not moving. Finally, Ollie gets it fired and they're off.
So giving up third position on the track to go long to the end.
Yeah, and just look at my notes here. It was an hour and 12 minutes that the 03 and the number 71 cars made since their last pit stop. However, they came in. Yes, there was a couple of laps of yellow, which is about probably a couple of laps, I think it was, so 6 or 7 minutes or so. So they can probably do maybe an hour and 4 minutes. I think that's about right. And they've only got to do just about an hour now to the end of the race. They came out with about an hour and a minute to go. So I fancy they can possibly make it here. They've done a fabulous job to eke out the fuel, I believe. And I think now they can perhaps just about maybe get it to the end of the race. This is going to be nail-biting stuff. It is a definite maybe.
There's no doubt in my mind now that Ollie Gavin can go to the end.
Yep.
So Beretta and Magnussen will be promoted, I think, to 3rd and 4th position.
Remember Petit Le Mans a couple of years ago when the Ferrari looked to have everything tied up, and then a mile from the finish, less than that, 3/4 of a mile to go. The car runs out coming down the long back straightaway, and it's Corvette that takes advantage and comes across and wins the race.
And that was their only win of the season.
It was.
And in fact,
and if Jan Magnussen, that kept Jan Magnussen's string of victories every year in the ALMS still alive.
And handed the title to BMW.
Indeed it did.
So watching.
Let's not count out BMW.
This is the leading car, 155 that we're looking at, Jörg Müller. And we believe, however, that he has to make at least one more pit stop.
For sure he does, no question about that.
I don't think he can go from where he started.
No, definitely not. He's going to be about half an hour short. I mean, not even close.
So what do you do then? Do you roll
You
the
run
dice
flat
down?
out.
You run flat out and long.
Yeah.
And you count on the fact that when you come into the pit lane, you will need less fuel. You do a time stop, and you send them out. You say now, drive the wheels off it. What's he? Is he low on fuel now? Surely not. Or is he just trying to clean his? Oh, hello. That's a very brave manoeuvre down the inside of the ESM Ferrari. Maybe he was just trying to catch the attention. So, just going back to the tactics, Jeremy, in the two BMWs, the 155 and the 56, you send them flat out now, and you work on the premise that they're going to burn the fuel. They're going to get less fuel to put in for the last half an hour. The car will be lighter. Possibly you have an advantage there, but you hope to make it. Oh, I thought he was going to pull in there. He took a tighter line. But you hope to pull enough gap that you don't give up too much track position when you come in to stop.
Basically. But the question is, I mean, most of these GT cars, they've been changing tyres on every pit stop. So, when do you make this last stop? Do you stretch your tyres to the end? Do you take on the tyres as well? It's a tough call.
The tyres are absolute time, of course, because you can't do anything else whilst you're fueling. Now there's the 56 BMW being passed by the Audi.
So there's no question, I think the advantage right now lies with the number 71 car of Olivier Beretta and the 03 of Jan Magnussen.
Nothing between those two on the track at the moment. So now,
Costly was that mistake by Jan Magnussen, huh? Thanks.
Well, now we've got to see. After all that super exciting jousting backwards and forwards, now we've gone from playing the short, quick game into the long game of chess again, with Muller in hand. Just 0.8 of a second between them, So Jörg Muller can't afford to make a mistake. He's got his teammate right in his back bumper. A small mistake could take them both out at this point. Hand goes through. Sorry, it's 9 seconds between them. I read that as a 0. Tired eyes here in the booth. Olivier Beretta and Magnussen separated by a couple of seconds already. Beretta has pulled away at about half to 3/4 of a second a lap. There are the two BMWs. Well, there's the lead BMW at least. Tom Christensen, by the way, quite happily cruising around. Second, 296 laps, 297 this time around. And had the better part of 90 seconds on Timo Bernhard the last time I checked. Timo's lapping a bit quicker now. Christensen cruising in the 51s. Timo Bernhard pushing harder in the 49 ones. Sarrazin with 23 seconds at the head of P2 from Pla, who's got only 3 seconds between himself and Barbosa in the 0.55. It's the battle for P2.
Here we go.
1.55. Well, there you go then. There's one of the answers. That was the lead car when he bailed into the pits. He can go from here, no doubt about it. And tyres are coming out. Rick.
Yeah, the big question for the team was they decided not to drain the tank completely because they were concerned that if a yellow came out, they would end up in a situation where they had to make an emergency stop and then get moved to the back of the queue. They did not want to do that. So they didn't want to go down as low as they possibly could. But once they make this fuel stop, they feel they are going to be ready to go. No driver change. They're only changing tires. Everything's smoothly going so far. And so far today, this Rahal team has been doing a great job of pit stops, getting them in and out quickly. A little stall as he's trying to get out of the pits. He stopped. Right now he has no drive. There he fires it up the other way.
I reckon that cost him 5 seconds there, Jeremy.
I agree. And yet again, a very experienced driver making a mistake, trying to get the car out of the pit lane. The pressure is on these guys. Jörg Muller, he's been at the wheel of that car, I reckon, for quite a long time. I think he took over the wheel of it at about 7:15. So he's been at the wheel already for over 2 hours, 2.25 hours. In the beginning stages, quite a bit of it was under yellow, but it's been a long stint by Jörg Muller.
So Olivier Beretta goes up to second. Joey Hand on board with him now is leading. How long do you leave Joey Hand out? You bring him in, don't you? You've got to.
And you put his fresh set of boots on and you tell him to drive the wheels off it.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what they do. I mean, they've got all their eggs in one basket here now, BMW. They haven't split their strategies, unlike Corvette. I think that was a smart move by Corvette Racing. BMW Team RLL, they've gone with their plan. Both cars are pretty much on the same sort of plan right now, aren't they?
Well, we'll find out. They haven't pitted this time around. Joey Hand continues. I suppose it's conceivable that they could...
They're half an hour apart.
I suppose it's conceivable that they could run Joey down to the last half hour and try and get him out on a timed stop.
Yep, he last stopped at on lap 264. Did Joey Hand. He's now done 281, so he's 17 laps. He's about just over halfway through a stint. Is Joey Hand, so it'd be interesting to see what he does now.
Let's check in on the other classes. EJ Viso leads PC for the 06 Core Autosport squad. He's got about half a minute on Rudy Junko in the 52 in second position. That's the PR1 Matheson Motorsport car. And Colin Brown is in third place in PC in the 05 Core Autosport car.
He's a lap down to EJ Viso, but he's only about a minute and change behind Rudy. Oh, actually, maybe he's not quite a full lap down to EJ Viso, in fact.
Yeah, it's going to be close, isn't it? That's going to take him up to about 140 something behind the leader.
Yeah, so I think he is actually still on the lead lap. So we do have 3 cars, but Colin Brown is going to need a full course caution to get back on terms with either the 06 and or the 52.
The Feltmire Porsche 88 and the 50 Corvette. Pedro Lamy now at the wheel of the Corvette. Paolo Roberti of the Felbermeyer Porsche still battling it out. Something in the region of 15-16 seconds between those two in the GT-AM category. And in GTC?
In GTC, it's an Alex Job Racing 1-2 at the moment. The 023 leads from 022, but the 023, Dion von Molker, is on pit lane. My timing and scoring showing right now.
Damien Fault is still in third place. We still never ID'd that
right behind Lee Keen. Right behind Lee Keen. So that battle is rejoined again after that incident that Damien had down in turn 17.
He'll not be a happy young man.
No, he'll have his gander up, that's for sure, on St. Patrick's Day. So he'll be charging back in. He's got back onto the tail of Lee Keen, so what can he do with him?
Haven't really been keeping an eye on the pit stops of those, I have to admit. So we saw Damien stop after that incident when the Ferrari nailed him. So it'll be interesting to see what... I think they've all got one more stop, to be honest. I'm not sure they can go as long as we saw them.
Von Molker certainly, he's just made his final stop.
Yeah.
The other two, I don't know, honestly. Good stuff though, isn't it?
Well, and the thing is, Jeremy, that when it comes down to it, we're talking about decisions where that 5 seconds lost in the pits could be the difference between winning and losing the race. Ooh, a little bit of vapour or smoke from the back of Tom Christensen's car. Was that just dust blowing out? See when he accelerates away this time. He's down into the 51s again. Timo Bernhard, 150.4. That'll be 300 laps completed next time around, and 49 minutes to go for the leader. Joao Barbosa in the 0.55, now within a couple of seconds of second place again in P2. Olivier Plat in the 24 Oak Racing car. And Bouillon is switched on again and beginning to charge. Let's just remind you of that GT battle, which after all of that tactical shimmying that had gone on, has Joey Hand leading, having completed 283 laps. His last lap around at 2 minutes, 0.575. There's the answer to what they told Joey to do. He's not saving fuel if he's just done a 2 minutes, 0.5.
He what's the lead then from Joey Hand to Olivier Beretta? Has he got enough in hand
Possibly.
to make this final pit stop? That's going to be the interesting thing. We're waiting for Beretta to come across the line to see what the gap is.
No, he's just gone through.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. No, sorry, it's Chandok that's just gone through ahead of him. The 22 car, the GRM car is back out. Right on the circuit.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Joey Hand has a minute 28 over Olivier Beretta, which is enough, I think, to make, that's enough to make the pit stop and resume in the lead of the race. So, you know, he's been charging along. We haven't really taken much notice of him recently because they were off the strategy of everybody else. And so he has just been turning some very quick laps. Last time around, Joey Hand had 2 minutes, 0.575, and he's been churning out a bunch of very, very fast laps. He's turned a 2 minutes, 0.394, which is fastest. That was about 20 odd laps ago, but Joey has been absolutely flying in that number 56 car. And if he keep that up, I think he's got enough in hand to make that final pit stop and still resume in the lead. The surprising thing is that Oliver Gavin and Jörg Müller haven't been able to do the same sort of thing.
Joey Hand in the pits in the lead GT car. That is with just 46 minutes to go.
Yeah, and it's only about less than 40 minutes since his last stop. So again, they've kind of split this final 2 stints for Joey Hand smack in the middle. So it's not a full stint either way. So he won't need a full tank of fuel now to resume. And I think there's going to be enough of a cushion that he has over Olivier Beretta to be able to come out and maintain that advantage. And that's purely as a result of the fact that he's been able to turn very, very consistent laps. They got, you know, what the team did, they got him away from everybody else in that battle, so he was able to just concentrate on his own race rather than having cars either behind or in front of him that he was directly dicing with. So I think good move there by BMW to do that and just let Joey Hand put the onus on Joey. Hey, what can you do, Joey? And this is what I can do. I can turn a string of very, very quick laps without having to worry about being held up by anybody else or trying to get past anybody else. Look at the leader there, though. He's having trouble with that. That's the Black Swan car, I think, again, isn't it? A little bit wayward, it have to be said. But it is still running. That's the good news. Kind of a 3, is that going slowly?
Very slowly. Is he pitting? I hope he's pitting, otherwise he's got real problems.
Pagenaud in the pits as well, also in car number 6.
Now goes the leader, Tom Christensen, through turn number 1. If you had to bet on this GT battle, Jeremy, if you were putting the house on it, or the dog on it, what do you reckon?
Joey.
I think they've played it very well, haven't they? They did split their strategy effectively. Joey then completed 284 laps. He's got 41 seconds on Beretta last time around. And
that was when Joey was in the pits. He hadn't yet emerged from the pits. We'll have to wait and see where he comes out.
The only thing I would say is I don't think they had time to give him tyres. That is the only problem. And I think he may be on slightly older rubber in that case, and that might be the issue.
If that's the case, he's going to have to do a stint and a half, basically.
Timo Bernhard.
Yes, the number 3 car, Timo Bernhard. He came into the pits for what looked like a normal pit stop. They did the fuel, but then they discovered they needed a new tire. The front right tire was down. The team took it off, checked the suspension to make sure everything was fine. It seems to be okay, but they are giving him a fresh set of Michelins when it was scheduled to be a fuel-only stop. A lot of time spent on pit lane.
That is the most un-Audi stop I've seen for a very long time. Meantime, Olivier Beretta picks up the pace.
Well, no, he comes out. I think he's just overtaken Joey Hand. I think it's now that Beretta leads in GT, with Joey Hand having just made a pit stop, hot on his heels.
Yeah, just a second or so between the two leaders. I think Beretta actually got around him in the pit stop. We didn't see him come out, but it was very, very close. There's the leader, Christensen, who now has a lap on the whole of the rest of the field. So there can be no shenanigans.
Is he going to lose second place then to Simon Pagenaud? Where's Pagenaud, by the way?
Pagenaud is in the pits.
Still?
Yes. Meantime, the GT battle has Olivier Beretta, I think, in the lead of this by just about 2 seconds.
Pagenaud too, isn't it?
Yes, he has. Beretta's just gone across the line with Joey Hand in second, Jan Magnussen in third. The top three are separated by less than 3 seconds. Hello, it's Ding Dong. It's the GT's calling once again.
So problems then for the second and third place cars overall, it would appear. And that João Barbosa now is leading in P2 again.
And there is the 6 car, which hasn't moved for a little while now.
No, it hasn't.
Kelly Stavist is down at the Muscle Milk pit.
Big problems here for the 6 Muscle Milk car. They suddenly said, oh, we got to fuel sooner than we expected, but when they brought it in, they couldn't get the fuel hose attached because the center of the Buckeye is missing. Now, they tried to put a funnel up to it and get some fuel in that way. Right now, it looks like all the Muscle Milk guys just standing around working with officials for a solution. Simon Pagenaud, meanwhile, just sitting in the cockpit waiting to get out of here. They thought they had plenty of time, but who knows now, as they sit here in pit lane, it could be very costly.
In ALMS terms, they've got about 4 laps, so call it 8 minutes to get that sorted out in order not to lose a position to Stephen Kane, who's at the wheel of the Dyson Racing 016.
And what happened to Stefan Sarazan? He must have pitted. He must have pitted.
Yeah.
Because he's some 30
Barbosa
seconds
now. Is it? Yeah, that's right. So
yes.
He's made his stop, and Barbosa now is making his pit stop.
This is a crucial set of pit stops for the P2 runners. Barbosa in, and Sarazan is coming back around. Lead Audi is in the pits for the final time, one would hope, with just 40 minutes left. All kinds of bodywork off the 3 car behind him. Where's the 1 car? Let's go down to Jamie Howe. Final stop for Tom Christensen.
Do the final sit. Now the problem with this pit stop is that the number 3 car was still in the pit box. This is something Audi had avoided for most of the race. It was very tight getting the number 2 out. It did take a little bit of extra time, but fortunately for them, their closest competition are both having problems.
12 laps behind is the Audi number 1. Surely. You know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Well, yeah.
But surely they're not going to put that number 1 ahead of the number 2.
Well, there's going to be several other cars in between them in P1. Right now, third place, it's still Simon Pagenaud, but he is sitting on pit lane. The next P1 car is Jules Bouillon in car number 16 for Pescarolo team and how many? Well, he's a couple of laps only behind, 6th place overall. Then the next P1 car will be Stephen Kane. Well, he's an LMS car, so not contending for WEC points. Then is Danny Watts, who has completed 295 laps in the number 21 car of Straka Racing. And then behind him it would be Benoit Trullier, who's completed 288 laps. So 7 laps between Danny Watts and Benoit Trullier in car number 1.
And I think that Stefan Sarazan is back leading P2. Yes. He is. He's just gone across the line. How far back is João Barbosa? I expect to see him shortly. I think he's going to be something like, in fact, he goes through in just under 30 seconds, 28 seconds. And JCB is right behind him, not for class position, but certainly for overall.
Yeah, and Barbosa's just made his pit stop. Olivier Pla made his final pit stop a little while ago, and he's only about 6 seconds behind him. And he, having made that stop a little while ago, has now the advantage of having his tyres up to temperature. Can he close and can he regain that second place from the 055 car from Level 5 Motorsports?
Now, let's head down to the GT battle. I'll give you the rundown in a moment, but first of all, let's go to Jamie in the pits for Timo Bernhard's Audi, which is still along pit lane.
Yes, Timo Bernhard has yet to leave pit lane. The Audi crew, they did change the rear bodywork on the car, but the main issue is with the front suspension. They think they have it sorted. All the bodywork is back on. Timo is off the jack, and they are sending him back out so they can have him get a feel for the car.
So now, as promised, thank you, Jamie. As promised, let's check in on that GT battle where Olivier Beretta on that pit work with AF Corsa cycles back through into the lead. Well, not cycles, drives back through the lead on the pit cycle. He's got a couple of seconds or so on Joey Hand.
Not quite as much as that. It's a little bit less, isn't it? But the point is, very little.
Yeah.
And Jan Magnussen, he's about another 2.5 seconds back as well. Jan Magnussen doesn't seem to be able to do anything with Olivier Beretta. He's dropped back since they made their final pit stops.
Joey Hand, maybe they just left him out a lap or too long. Didn't have him pushing quite enough. I mean, literally, when you just come out 2 seconds behind someone, what you're talking about there is the difference between pushing a bit harder on the in lap or the out lap, aren't you?
Yeah.
It is that.
Where's the 03 car? There it is, and
third place,
those two. It's close as to whether they can get to the end of this race on the fuel that they have. I mean,
I'm sure they can run completely flat out.
No, well, that's the point. I mean, they certainly have to do it a little bit over an hour. They should be able to do, I think, an hour and 2 or 3 minutes. So I reckon they'd be okay. But it certainly isn't. There's some nail biting there.
Yes.
They would have wanted to get every drop of fuel into that car at that final pit stop. That's for certain.
Well, Ollie Gavin we know can definitely go. He's in 5th position, and so can Jörg Muller in 4th. So it could be between those two, and they're only 2 seconds apart. Top 3 though in GT are separated by 4.5 seconds. Let's go back down the pit lane. More strife at the head of the field for Simon Pagenaud and the Muscle Milk team. Remember, it was a fueling issue. Kelly.
And they're still working on that fueling issue here down at the Muscle Milk car. For a moment, they were using the fuel hose to get fuel into a gas can and using that through a funnel to put fuel into the car. They did that a few times. Then they came running over with what looked to be the missing part, that Buckeye we talked about that connects the fuel hose into the car. They're still mulling it over, but they've only got 1 lap up on the next car in P1 and overall. So if they want to maintain that podium position, they've really got to find a solution here quickly. And this has just been devastating for the number 6 Muscle Milk car. And in fact, we're now finding out that the 44 car, which is a P2 car, is now 3rd overall. And the longer they sit here, it just gets worse for Muscle Milk. Should have been a routine stop, and now they've been here losing laps.
That's right, and Chris Dyson, who's taken over the wheel, number 016 car from Stephen Kane, he's only a lap away now from demoting Simon Pagenaud 1 more position.
Gone through.
This is incredible.
Unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible. But you know, Sebring, it's such a tough track. It's bumpy. The vibrations here are amazing, much more than any other track in the United States. And you know, those vibrations can shake anything loose.
Now, got to remind those of you who are experienced. He's on the phone there. They're asking. They're literally ringing someone up and asking for advice on what to do here. The guy in the white suit with the white helmet is shaking his head, saying no. And he is the IMSA official, and he will be advising on safety. And they will not let that car go if they think that that's not safe. Is that Charlie there, actually? Has Charlie been called down? If that's so, he's one of the head scrutineers and technical for the American Le Mans Series. What I was going to say, though, there are different rules in the American Le Mans Series. You don't have to be running and take the checkered flag to be classified and get your points. And so long as you've done 70% of the race, you will get your points, and they have. So the worst they can be in the P1 category for ALMS is 2nd.
Yes. But you know, a big turnaround here. It's an 8-point swing. You get 20 points, or it's actually 30 points here for the win for the long distance race here at Sebring. You get 26 points for second place. So whereas up until still now they've got a 4-point advantage, they would have a 4-point advantage over Dyson Racing. In one lap's time, they're going to have a 4-point deficit to Dyson Racing if they're unable to get that car out onto the racetrack. And it looks like it's going to take more than one lap's worth to get that number 6 car back into the fray, if at all. But as you say, even if they can't get it back out, it will still maintain enough of a distance to get second place.
Before the last round of pit stops, when the 44 from Starworks Motorsports came in, Stefan Sarrazin was on the radio to the team complaining about understeer. The engineers that were on their intercom system said, "I'm sorry if he has understeer, but he's pulling away. We are not making any changes on this race car." The number 24 from Oak Racing came into the pits before him. They did fuel only, so Starworks, they did fuel only and made Stefan go back out with the car that he's not 100% happy with.
Get out of here. Don't want to hear it. Too late to worry about things like that.
Yeah, exactly. You're leading.
24
you're on the
seconds.
podium.
Beg your pardon.
We have had P2 cars winning in recent history, of course.
2008, Penske Racing,
Porsche. And, that was an amazing event. And now the Audis are only. Well, McNish now is 7 laps ahead, but Timo Bernhard's only 2 laps ahead of Sarrazin. Well, lapping quicker. It would be a tremendous achievement to get the 44 and stay on the original, or the overall podium rather. Now, hearing news from the pit lane that Muscle Milk have asked permission from IMSA to take the car behind the wall to fix the fueling inlet. Now, they wouldn't be allowed to fuel the car behind the wall. There's a lot of racers tape going on the inlets there. They wouldn't be allowed.
That's number 5 car. That's the
yeah, you're right.
The PC car there as well.
There's the 6 car.
Yep.
My apologies. They won't be allowed to fuel it behind the wall, but they can fix the fuel spigot effectively,
and then bring it back around, refuel the car and send it on its way. But by then, well, Chris Dyson's already overtaken him now on the road. 8th place overall now for Dyson Racing, and looking to come away here, the defending champion in the American Le Mans Series presented by Tequila Patron, looking now to come away with a victory. And what a magnificent result that would be for Dyson Racing with this brand new car. And when I say brand new, I mean both of these are new cars this season. The HPD, which we are looking now, is also a new car, but at least they've had 2 or 3 test sessions with that car. The Dyson Racing car didn't turn a wheel really until they got here on Monday. Well, actually over the weekend, I guess.
Alan McNish turns a 54.6 in the lead Audi. This GT battle has changed. Joey Hand has got ahead of Olivier Beretta.
Oh my.
When did that happen?
This lap, on the last lap around. Yes, it did.
Absolutely right.
Lap 291. Joey Hand regains the lead for BMW Team RLL. What a fantastic battle this has been. And Jan Magnussen, he's still there. He's only a couple of seconds farther back in 3rd place.
So still the top 3 within 3 seconds.
BMW, followed by Ferrari, followed by Corvette. Brilliant stuff.
I still think that they are rolling the dice just a tad with their fuel. And Jürgen Müller may yet be the guy who benefits from this. Magnussen's dropped away a couple of tenths.
Joey Hand's definitely good to go. He came in only less than half an hour or so ago. It's the 71 and the 03 car, 2nd and 3rd in the class. They kind of rolled the dice a little bit. They were able to get it to within just over an hour till the end of the race before they made what they hope will be their final pit stop.
And there is the new leading car. So Joey Hand leads again by just over a second. Olivier Beretta got hampered. This is the onboard. Look ahead to the Ferrari. You can see the white stripe down the middle of the car. Coming into turn 1, Olivier Beretta turns in. And look at that. Oh my goodness me. Another Ferrari blocking him off there. That allowed Joey Hand to get halfway, 3/4 of the way, all the way past and retake the lead.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
look at that, just for a decisive manoeuvre as well, to make sure that he got it and made it stick.
Isn't it? For Joey Hand, I mean, he's always been a very, very talented driver, but Team RLL, the BMW team, they've really got the best out of Joey. He's been driving absolutely brilliantly for the last just over 12 months or so. It all started with that win with Ganassi at Daytona 24 Hours at the beginning of last year, and he got the championship last year as well in the ALMS.
Some strife, as we've been reporting, with fueling for the Muscle Milk team. Let's go down to Klaus Graf, who's with Kelly.
After such a strong run going for the number 6 Muscle Milk machine, Klaus, the last images you saw on the screen were of your car being pushed behind the pit wall. How do you describe the emotions of making it more than 11 hours in this race and to see it end in this way?
Yeah, it's very difficult at the moment. I mean, I don't know what to say. We had a very good run, and the guys worked so hard and to come so close on a podium finish, and then run into a problem so close to the end. It's very difficult, very tough at the moment. It's hard to swallow.
I can imagine. Have you seen an issue like this before? It seems like sort of a strange one, and perhaps nothing to do with the fact of having a new car and all the new car blues that come with that.
Yeah, I've never seen that before. I don't know how that could happen. I have no idea. I mean, I think everybody was kind of shaking his head and don't know what's going on or why. And so am I. So it's hard to say at the moment what caused it or what caused the problem. So we're behind the wall. I hope we get it back out.
So you are going to try to fix it and salvage the last minute?
So I think they will try and fix it, and hopefully we get it back.
And we look forward to getting it back out. Thank you, Klaus.
Doesn't really make, it's kind of a moot point for that team, to be perfectly honest. I mean, they'll want to get it to the end of the race just simply because they're racers and they want to see the checkered flag. But in terms of their championship aspirations, yeah, they've already done enough to get second place points, so that will not change. But I know they want to get that car and get it across the finish line.
So 26 minutes still to go. Alan McNish from Timo Bernhardt, from Stefan Sarrazin, the lead P2 car.
Yeah,
and there
fabulous run.
It's Viso, Joey Hand and Dejan von Moltke leading in class. We'll take a little break and then we'll take you all the way to the checkered flag for the 60th Mobile 12 Hours.
What do you drive? Is it inspiring? Was it built by a behemoth car maker? Or insightful craftsmen obsessing over the details, building better cars for a discerning few? Are you one of the few who care about what you drive and how it drives? We're with you because we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. We build Mazdas. What do you drive?
Hi, I'm Dennis Gage, and I gotta tell you about a smart charging system that keeps my entire fleet of machines on call at all times. It's called Battery Tender, and it's not just for my classic cars. Deltran battery tenders have a microprocessor that monitors everything. It never overcharges. It just takes batteries up to a full charge and keeps them there. So whether it's cars, motorcycles, mowers, or ATVs, Battery Tender keeps them all ready for action. If it's not a Deltran battery tender, it's just a pretender.
Wind can run, but it can't hide.
Presenting the official American Le Mans Series merchandise collection. Inspired by the world leader in green racing. Represent your favorite series with authentic event shirts, hats, jackets, and other gear. It's available at every race in Vendor Village and, of course, at ALMS.com.
Last 24 minutes of the 2012 60th running of the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, fueled by Fresh from Florida. It's Jeremy Shaw and I'm John Hindhoff.
here on ESPN, and great to have you here. A couple of changes in the last few minutes. We showed you Joey Hand and Olivier Beretta duking it out, and Joey just getting the best. He's not been able to pull away. He's still only got something like 2-3 tenths of a second between himself and Ollie Beretta. Also in the GT-AM category, Pedro Lamy has gone by Paolo Roberti in the last couple of laps, and he started to pull away. It looks like it goes back advantage to the Corvette team there, with the Labour competition car getting the advantage. The 88 Falbermeyer Porsche has held out for a long time, but Paolo Roberti, having lost that lead a couple of laps ago, has now dropped back to almost 20 seconds and lost 4 seconds the last lap alone to Pedro Lamy. We could yet have the 6 car coming back out, I'm told. This is the Muscle Milk HPD that had that fueling link problem. They did say they would try and fix it. Meantime, the GT leaders are back at it again. There's Alan McNish leading, and there is the Muscle Milk.
Good job. Well done.
I think it's coming back into its pit for just a splash of fuel to get it to the end. Now,
yeah, hats off to those guys. Hopefully.
Yeah, that didn't go in easily, that fuel probe. And not sure there's fuel going in there. Oh yeah, there is. Fire, go. Now, I mentioned GT just a moment or two ago with Ollie Beretta and Joey Hand. Joey went by, remember, when Ollie got stuck in traffic. That is Joey Hand leading, coming onto the start-finish line and being passed by a prototype as they go across the line. It was a tenth of a second. It's now a full second between those two, and that is just traffic. And there is the Ferrari, though. There's only one car between them, and look at the traffic ahead. And Beretta must close up here. This is an opportunity. He's got to get there, so that if there's any kind of fumble down by the hairpin, he's got an opportunity to take advantage. And he's closed right up, Jeremy. Olivier Beretta, wily old fox that he is, he's now got, unfortunately, the Benoit Treluer P1 car coming through. Up to 7th, by the way, that Audi again now. And there is the kind of fumble we were talking about. The leader's right in the middle there on the inside. The Green Hornet car is just about staying out of everybody's way. Damien Faulkner establishing himself in 3rd place in GTC. Well, that's another danger area over for the leader of GT, Joey Hand.
Well, let's go back to the very last pit stop that Joey Hand made. The team tried to do one thing they thought would help him out. They didn't give him tires. He's double stinting the tires. The good news is that got him out quickly, got him into a position where he was able to be close to the leaders. The problem now is he's on a double stinted set of tires. So as we get towards the end of the race, if he's duking it out with Beretta, will his tires have as much bite in them as Beretta's will have? So far, it's doing the job, but that's a question to be answered in the next 20 minutes.
It is. It's two stints, but it's not 2 full stints. I think that's the key here. It's effectively a stint and a half, but it's, or else 2 3/4 stints, which is the way they've done it with their fueling. So I think that's exactly what the team planned quite a long time ago. Make that first pit stop with an hour and a half or so to go, whatever it is, and make one more pit stop after that in the middle, so they can run it to the end.
Yeah, but here's Beretta, and he has got the grip. There's no doubt about that. The problem is, if the tyres start going off, will they drop off a cliff in terms of performance? Or can he baby them to the end? He's got now some 20 minutes. Some 20 minutes to defend against Beretta. 2:04.3 for Hand last time. They should be lapping in 2:02s, maybe even 2:01s. His teammates down in a 2:01. And there's a real opportunity here for Beretta to get back and make here, maybe, and if he can get through and gap just a little bit to the BMW, which he seemed to be able to do when the BMW first came out the pits. It was traffic that caught Beretta out. Oh, now the 17 Fulton car right in the middle of that, where
exactly where Olivier Beretta doesn't want it to be.
Yeah, there's 3 different cars there, 3 different tyres. Dunlop's on the BMW, Falcon on the Porsche, and Michelin on the Ferrari. Can he get past? Yes, he can. Beretta finally makes the move, dives down the inside.
That was very decisive. Used all the exit, but that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. Stayed on the track. I'm reminded of a very famous commentator, Murray Walker, who used to do Formula One for the BBC and indeed for ITV through many years. Motorcycle and British touring cars. Catching is one thing, passing is another, is what old Mudley Talker used to say. And he's absolutely right, of course. Remember what Marino said? Sage words from the Scot earlier. All of that kindness, all of that patience, all of that respect and pleasantry disappears at this point. If Beretta wants to get past Joey Hand, he's going to have to work for it, and he may have to fight and get physical for it. So he takes a huge amount of speed into 17. He's run slightly wide, gets right up to the wall on driver's left. Now, can he close back in again, Jeremy?
Yeah, 17 laps to go, so probably going to be
17 minutes.
17 minutes, sorry. So probably 9 laps, probably.
For the leader, not necessarily for the GT cars. That's the other calculation that comes in, of course. Where's the leader on the track?
I think he just went past start-finish line now.
Because we have seen that in the past. Remember the door banging between Ferrari and Lizard back down the years? That occurred because the leader had got well away from them, and they effectively had to do another lap. We were 12 hours and over 2 minutes before they came through, and that allowed them to continue that battle for an extra lap. So the position of the leader relative to the GT battle will be a factor at the end of the race.
Think about this when looking at that GT battle. You have Joey Hand behind the wheel of the BMW. He is at the top of his career right now with BMW. They've put enough faith in him that they're moving him over to DTM. Then you have Olivier Beretta. Remember, Olivier did not leave Corvette Racing because he wanted to. He found himself without a job at the end of last season, and now he's fighting to hold on to his job at Ferrari. So the question now becomes, who has more fight in them? You have Joey Hand's confidence, or do you have Olivier Beretta ready to prove something?
Yeah, and there is a Corvette being dragged away. That is the 5-0 car that had just been leading. That's Pedro Lamy in the GTM category for Labra competition, being towed away on the far side of the airfield. Paolo Roberti goes back into the lead of that class, and Jean-Philippe Belloc in the sister car goes up to second. What a disaster for those guys in their absolute dying moments.
Yeah, that is a major disappointment for the Labra team. They've been running beautifully with that Corvette. It's been a tremendous battle, though, between 3 or 4 cars, really, in GTE Amateur, and it looked like it was going the way of the number 50 car, but apparently not, because it's got a problem. It's been towed off the line, and now Paolo Roberti has a pretty handy lead of about a lap, I think, over the second of the Labra competition cars, car number 70.
Danger time here again for GT leader Joey Hand, as all kinds of prototypes are trying to make passes. He's trying to get round the Black Swan car. And Joey, be careful here.
Yeah, which has been very wayward, I have to say, during this race.
It could go anywhere at the moment. Oh, that... See, that shouldn't really happen. A P2 car getting passed by a GT. But at least the driver of the Black Swan car stayed out of the way, as you rightly say, Jeremy. That is the chasing Ferrari. Best pictures, best nighttime pictures I've seen here ever. These are fantastic guys.
It's the 22 car, isn't it? So Karun Chattock, they've got the JRM car back out into the track. So they've done some sterling work there.
It's been out quite a long time. I mean, they've actually just turned 300 laps, so they're only 17 laps back from the leader.
Yep. And of course was in that battle for 3rd place. Doesn't seem that long ago, a couple of hours or so ago, I guess now. But then they had the problem, spent quite a bit of time in pit lane, but they have got the car on the track.
Simon Pagenaud, he's back in the pits for a stop-and-go penalty for not using the proper fueling rig. I think that must have been when they used the funnel in the early part of that. That was frowned upon. And
rightly so.
It depends. Is that a stop and a hold? If this is a stop and a hold, they might be in danger of losing a position or two in the P1 category, because Benoit Trillier in car number 1, the Audi, the delayed Audi, is now less than a lap behind him.
And all of those problems have promoted Straka to be the best HPD and into 5th in P1, 10th overall, but there's a lot of P2 cars around him. And in fact, if you take... if you... 6 going back behind the wall again, and if you take out the 016 cars in the LMS, that's going to give him 4th place points in the WEC for Piers and the rest of the guys, and I think they'd have taken that before the race started.
Yeah, the best of the HPDs overall, though, is the P2 car, isn't it? Sarazan Starworks Motorsports, hats off to them. What a magnificent run they have had to run now in 3rd place overall. The car has run like clockwork and absolutely magnificently prepared by the team.
Oh, there goes Beretta down the inside. It's the last of lip rig, and he's not going to get it. It's going to go. Oh my goodness me! Just stays on the tarmac, and it is tarmac at turn number 7, which is where he had to go. He was super late there, came from such a long way back, and how cool was Joey Hahn to watch that unfold in front of him?
Yeah, absolutely. Beretta outbraked himself there. We saw him do that earlier in the race, at least once, if not twice, in the same place on the racetrack. And now with just over 12 minutes to go, that is not the time to make that sort of mistake. And, you know, really, for somebody of Beretta's experience to leave his braking that late and clearly too late. Let's have a look at it again. Here he is smoking him up down the inside.
All right, I'll take that back. He did well to hold on to that Beretta because he was sideways. Now, here's the onboard from Joey's car. Watch to the right-hand side. He's braking. And Beretta's only just on the brakes there. Actually, do you know what? I think Beretta was in a better position than he realised there, Jeremy. And if he'd actually braked just a tad earlier, he would have had position for the corner.
Sure. No question.
And I think he tried to do slightly too much there.
I agree entirely. I mean, he braked too low. He's on the dirty line though. He's off the racing line, which has the most grip on the outside. So you have to take advantage. You have to take account of that if you're going to make an outbraking maneuver on the inside. You're certainly going to have to brake a little bit earlier than you would have done if you're on the outside line. But as long as you can maintain your position inside the car that's to the left of you, turning into that right-hander, then you have the advantage turning into the corner. But he wasn't able to do that. He wasn't able to get that car slowed down enough, and that has cost him, well, I would say at least a couple of seconds. Yeah, 3 seconds is the gap when they came across start-finish line.
Just needed to get up there and then roll off the brakes, get it to the apex and stop it. Like a motocross block pass in some respects.
Yeah, and Jan Magnussen's about 8 seconds behind Olivier Beretta in 3rd place, but now only about 5 seconds behind him is Jörg Müller in the number 155 BMW, who I think is getting a little bit closer. Certainly was last time around. He was a second faster.
And there is Jörg Müller. Look very far into the distance and see what light we can see. Is that the back of Jan Magnussen's Corvette? Does that look 5 seconds up the road? No, probably a little bit closer than that. He's looking as a driver at this point. No, I think that might be him. Yeah, you're right.
One of those two cars, I think, just turned into to turn 10.
At this point, Jeremy, as a driver, you're looking for any signs of encouragement that you're catching something, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just to keep you motivated. They'll all be tired. Maybe just starting to feel it as well. I have no idea how they drive this track in the dark. It's difficult enough in daytime. Stefan Sarazan, 3rd place overall, may yet have to have a splash of fuel. He's only got 33 seconds between himself and Barbosa, and that's not enough time to get in and out the pits, Jeremy, so that one's not over, and that's 3rd place on the podium, as well as the top step of the P2 podium.
Yeah, that would be strange. He made his last pit stop on lap 296, so he's done 16 laps. Only he's only got about another 4 or 5 to go, so he should be able to do 20 odd laps on a tank of fuel in a P2 car.
Always assuming they got it all in. Yeah. And we've heard already, haven't we, about another HPD fueling problem today. There is Alan McNish, the second of those 3 cars. See the little red end plate lights at the back of the car, sort of making it look like he's got his afterburners on.
Well, that is McNish going through past one of the Ferraris. Distinctive, in fact there's two Ferraris there, aren't there? Distinctive headlight pattern on the 458 Italias. And McNish now with 4 laps in hand on Timo Bernhard after that long stop that the number 3 car had. By the way, Benoit Treluet and the rest of the number 1 team, after all their problems, trials and tribulations, they're still 16 laps off the lead, but they have made it back onto my first page of scoring, so that's 16th position, and back into 6th with all the problems. Remember, they were down as low as, I think, 10th or 11th in P1, back up to 6th in P1, make that net 5 for WEC. So that is a really, really impressive run back from those guys who have been clean since they got back out on the track after their problems earlier with the gear shift mechanism.
Absolutely right. Pit stop then for the number 49 car.
Yeah, that's 4th place in P2, 7th overall. Pecom guys have had a quiet but successful run today as Alan McNish going across the line.
That 293 they made their last pit stop. According to this, for car number 49, so it's only about 20 laps on their tank of fuel.
Olivier Beretta has dropped away now to some 5 seconds away from Joey Hand. As Joey goes across the start-finish line, it is indeed 4.7 seconds. There's H. Howden, star of Truth in 24. There's a little bit of nerves just showing there now, a bit of jangling. First time for a long time that these three have pulled off a victory. Didn't have a great season last year in the ILMC, or of course at Le Mans when McNish binned it early, hitting the Beltoise Ferrari.
Already between them, though, 12 wins at the Sebring 12 Hours for this trio. Remarkable.
And how many Le Mans wins between them? I mean, Tom's got 8, McNish has got 2, and what, Dindo got, I think it's 4 or 5?
I think it's 37 combined wins at Le Mans, Sebring and Petit.
That's impressive.
It is impressive.
Very impressive. Audi's have eased their pace, as you might imagine, at the head of the field. There's no need for
they're
cruising. Pushing.
4 laps between the number 2 car and the number 3. Just a 2-lap margin back to Stefan Sarrazin in that Starworks Motorsport HPD.
Simon Pagenaud has gone back into the pits and has not yet returned. Oh, 77, Patrick Pilet, the GT 6th car, back in the pits again for a splash at the end. That's been bad planning because they were in with just over an hour to go. So what does that mean for everybody else around them? That's interesting.
Yeah, I think they stopped, yeah, exactly. They stopped with, I think it was about an hour, when was that? 77, I don't make a note of that. No, actually I didn't.
Listen to the engines buzzing in the darkness. The different noises.
They were in there, I think that car was in a little bit before the 71 and the 03 car, wasn't it? So they made it, they've only made it around about an hour. I think it was maybe an hour and 5 minutes or so when that car came into the pits for the last time. So they made it only about an hour and a minute or 2, which is about what the number 71 and the 03 needed to do to get to the end of this race. The gap between Jan Magnussen in 3rd place in the 03 Corvette and the 155 Jörg Müller BMW down now to just over 3 seconds. So little by little, the Müller BMW is inching closer to the Magnussen Corvette.
We always talk about sports car racing as being a sport that is filled with variety, different classes, different looks, different sounds of cars, and out in the stillness of the night, those different engine notes are very easy to pick out, aren't they? You hear the low rumble of the V8 Corvettes, the higher pitched scream of the Ferraris and the BMWs, also V8s. You hear the whisper of the air being moved and the Michelin tyres on the tarmac from the Audis as they go by. Like that. And then The HPD V8 3.5 litre 3.4 screaming by within an inch of its life.
So cool. Just a note here about the Flying Lizard team. They had another extensive problem. I think it was a suspension problem for the number 45 Flying Lizard car, but they have got now that car back out into the fray. They're a long, long way back, 50-odd laps behind the leaders, but once again, that's never say die from the Flying Lizard team.
Alan McNish about to lose another lap to Benoit Treluet, so he'll pull another lap back and probably going down to the hairpin. The two bright white lights of the Audi. Yep, indeed. Oh goodness me, they go around there very quickly, don't they?
Just
see the angle, there's much shallower angle at the turn into than the GT cars. So Treluet, I'm not sure how much further Treluet can get up, but he's up into 6th in P1, and in terms of the World Endurance Championship, got to look at what cars ahead of him are in the ALMS. I think it's only the Dyson, so that's net 5 5th position points. That's not the worst that can happen for them.
Is this the battle? Yes, it is. This is the battle of the GT. Look at that. How Olivier Beretta has closed up in the last couple of laps on Joey Hand.
Well, has he timed
Hand
this?
over fist.
Has he timed this absolutely right with just a lap, maybe 2 to go, Jeremy?
Yeah.
And has he got help in front from another Ferrari? That is the Krone Racing car. And Joey's got to be very, very careful here. He is the meat in the sandwich, and Beretta's coming very quickly towards the Jean de Bihan Benz, and no doubt the leader was held up a little bit there. Beretta goes to the right-hand side, coming down to the Mont bend. He's going to go and try in the inside here as they go on the back straight. He's gone through with less than 2 minutes to go. He's taken the position and retaken the GT lead. A very unorthodox manoeuvre, saw his opportunity, much as Joey Hand did earlier on, didn't need a second invitation.
Absolutely right. Tracy Kroner wandering across the road, going into the Jean de Bihan curves, and that is exactly what Olivier Beretta needed. So once again, the advantage goes back and forth. This time it is with Ferrari.
Here comes the BMW back at him though. The white flag is flying as they go underneath Dennis Paul's feet, and Joey Hand's going to have to go very, very tight to the wall. He's having a look, and surely Beretta will close the door. As they go underneath there. Has he got through? He has.
Yes,
He's gone back through. Joey Hand has gone back through. We've got another 3 miles to go. Beretta was slightly asleep there. I think he thought that was a prototype.
Well, you know what's going to happen. Well, he's actually made a move in the carousel. He dived in and you can't pass there. But that has taken Joey Hand out of the race. So I thought it was going to happen down at the end of this straightaway. But no, that was
Was that the 51 car that hit him and not the 71?
Really?
I'm not sure about that. I'd love to see it again.
That would be even worse.
My goodness me. That was absolutely... Meantime, Alan McNish, Dindo Capello and Tom Christensen will win the 60th anniversary of the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring, fueled by Fresh from Florida. It's been a long time since these guys have had a victory, and this one has been well and hard fought, and that's what it means to the guys in the two squads. Meantime, the GT battle rages on. And this is the battle for the lead. It looks like the Krone car is still in front of the pair of them as they come down to the spot where Beretta went through the last time around. Just unbelievable stuff. Heading down towards the last corner. And there's going to be some talking about this one, and again the GT battle goes right to the wire. Super late on the brakes by Hand. He's right there. He's coming up the inside. They're side by side. That's the 51 he's gone through. It is the 51 again getting in the way, and he's picked up some debris there, so through he goes. And Joey Hand will win it by even though he got knocked off the track in the last knockings of that race. That is amazing. The 71's gone through, but in third position, Magnussen took Beretta as well. So Beretta getting caught up in all that action on the last lap. My goodness me. The GT providing great battling again for us here at Sebring. We'll sort out who did what to whom in the darkness when we come back.
All the excitement of the American Le Mans Series is back.
Red flag and we're racing at Baltimore.
Where technology races into the future and no man is better than his machine. Failure is always a threat when pushing development to its very edge, but survival makes success that much sweeter. This is where technology, passion, and danger meet to create a spectacular orchestra. The American Le Mans Series, presented by Tequila Patron, where the technology of speed and danger is everything.
So that. Welcome back to Sebring and the aftermath of the GT battle. Jeremy and I in that break still trying to work out what happened, whether Jimmy Bruni had fought his way past his teammate and then attacked the BMW.
In which case, what happened to the 71 car?
Well, yes, ideally. Well, Jan Magnussen took advantage and went through to second. Yeah. Let's clear up the results as we have on the screen. Is the Joy Han BMW 56 in the first position in GT, with Jan Magnussen in the 03 Corvette in second, and Olivier Beretta, in the 71 in third position, but some 8 seconds back away, 6 seconds back away from the leaders. So that's quite remarkable. That's what we're talking about. Ollie Gavin and Tom Milner and Westbrook in fourth position ahead of the second BMW. Then the Felbermeyer Porsche dropping away at the end with an extra stop. Good result for Paul Miller Racing.
Excellent result.
Very good result for the 44 Flying Lizard. Good recovery from the O2 Extreme Speed car, and the 88 is the winner of the GT AM category in 10th in that category. So what went out in the darkness? We know that the Krone Racing Ferrari was right in front of the lead BMW. And the question is, did Jimmy Bruni come through past his teammate and then set about that lead BMW? The race belongs to Audi, and it's been a while since we've been able to say that here at Sebring. 2009,
yeah,
excuse me.
The last time this trio took the victory spoils here at the Sebring 12 Hours. So it's been 3 years in the waiting here. They come close several occasions. They've certainly been competitive every year that they've been here, but this time it's all come true again for Dindo and Tom Christensen and Alan McNish.
Yeah, and in point of fact, once the number 1 car dropped away, after its gearbox problems, never looked in doubt. The 3 car was there, it swapped the lead with them a couple of times, but then that is really naughty. Orange juice is even worse than champagne, isn't it?
It'll taste great.
Is that Martin Pass down there? Yes, it is. The Audi PR guru. And the number 3 car given a little extra attention by Audi for a potential front suspension problem. Dropped it a few laps away without it being in any danger of losing second place once the rest of the P1 field had rather dropped away.
All at the same time, effectively.
Let's go down to the scrum that is Parc Fermé, and the winner, Alan McNish, is with Jamie.
Alan McNish was part of the winning team in 2009, now claiming Audi's 10th victory here at Sebring. What does this mean to this team?
It's a fantastic result for Tom Dindo and I. We had a bit of a tough year last year, but we certainly rebounded in this race, and to start off the World Championship with a victory was superb. I think it's Tom's 25th win here. Dindo and I are not quite that old, but it's a superb result for us all. I think we can all be very proud of that one.
Congratulations to Alan McNish.
Bringing the car home was McNish, and just reprising his interview in flawless French, I'm sure.
Yeah, number 6 then for Tom Christensen, number 5 for Dindo Capello, and number 4 for Alan McNish here at Sebring.
In P2, Starworks, 3rd place overall for a brand new team in the WEC in a brand new car ahead of Level 5 Motorsports, the best of the ALMS runners, and Oak Racing recovering in the 24 car in 3rd place on the podium. And Kelly has got Stefan Sarazan.
A lot of hugs and congratulations all around here at Starworks. Even Audi drivers coming over to congratulate this group who finished 3rd overall. Stefan Sarazan, you brought the car home. Sounded like it could have been a little bit close on fuel, though. What were those final moments like?
Yeah, just amazing to finish on the podium overall. I'm so happy, you know. Starworks did a very great job. My teammate was very fast. We did no mistake, and the car is really good. We have this car since 1 week. So thanks to Starworks, and I'm very happy to be on the podium.
And for Ryan Diao, what he just touched on, this program came together so late. Could you ever imagine having this sort of result?
You know, after Daytona, nothing surprised me with Starworks. The job that the guys did in the past couple of weeks has been phenomenal, and even once we got here Sunday night, the car was still in pieces, but you know, just thanks to everybody at Starworks. What an incredible bunch of guys, and this kind of puts up for the lack of sleep they've had. We got a couple of guys that are kind of sick right now, so hopefully they can savor this one.
All right, congratulations to you all. Go enjoy.
Thank you.
Steve Chalice on the extreme right of the screen there.
The race engineer for Starworks Motorsports, a long career in the Champ Car Series. Most recently he's been with Extreme Speed Motorsports, but stepped across to another South Florida team, that would be Starworks, to work on this P2 car and come away with a victory first time out for that team in the American Le Mans Series.
Now that GT battle was a boxing match, we likened it to earlier on. It nearly came to fisticuffs at the end. Here's Joey Hand, he won it, he's with Rick.
Joey Hand, tell us about that last lap. That was an incredible event.
Well, the last lap, how about the last 3.5 hours? I pushed and pushed and pushed. I just want to say thanks to BMW Team RLL, Crown Plaza, Dunlop, everybody that helps this program go. Like I said, this is a team effort. Dirk Mueller, the champ, my other teammate, and Jonathan Somerton, the new kid. The other seat spacer did a really good job, and I really enjoy driving for this program. Bobby Rahal always motivating, Chris Yancher, Uwe Wolf, all these guys on the pit wall. Did you see how many times we came in second and we came out first? That's what I'm talking about. So I just didn't want to let these guys down. I pushed and pushed. I told them, I said, there's nothing left. Their toes knocked out. The tires are worn out. I'm worn out. But I hope everybody got a show, because if you didn't like that, you don't like racing.
Now, you got hit at the end by the 51. What did you think at that point?
I think it was a 71. I thought, wow, that was a cheap shot. But coming from that guy, I understood. I was waiting for him to hit me. That's the way he drives, and I'm just glad I got it caught. And he damaged himself more than he damaged me. I saw he had a flat tire through 14, 15, 16. I set him up, I got a big, I broke as deep as I could into 17, and I knew it wouldn't hold. It was his left front. I knew he wouldn't hold, and I was prepared to put it in his door and put him in the tires, but I didn't have to do that.
This was not a dominating win. You guys didn't control the whole week. You didn't control the first 6, the first 8 hours. At any point today, do you think, well, we're just settling for points?
Well, a lot of times today, we were down and out a few times. We had a lot of problems, but we focused forward, as Big Bob says, and we made it happen. Not just me. I drove as hard as I could, but these guys did everything they could also. They were really smart, methodical about fixing the problems. We stayed on the lead lap, and we raced to win. I called this one. I told you. We didn't have the ultimate pace, but we would have the endurance, and we have the smart people on our stand.
Joey Hand and 2 teammates, Jonathan Somerton, Dirk Mueller, winners here at Sebring.
Not the ultimate pace, but still the ultimate driving machine as far as Sebring's concerned. And 7:15, Joey Hand got in that car, Jeremy.
Yeah, 7:16, I reckon it was. And he said they didn't have the ultimate pace, but very close to it. I mean, they were awfully close to getting the fastest lap of the race as well. So the BMW here was very stout, but what a magnificent stint that was from Joey Hand.
So he seems to think it was the 71 that hit him and punctured the tyre.
I think so too.
Interesting. Let's go to GTC now, and to Jamie Howe.
And in GTC, it was Alex Job Racing and Dion von Moltke bringing the car home. Dion, this is only your second time competing in the 12-hour. How did you do this one in a spec class?
What an amazing event. I've just got to say, first of all, thanks to all the guys working out on course. There's a few times I thought a full course yellow was going to come out, and they went out there, pretty dangerous situations, and really saved us the race. And all the Alex Job, all the guys there, what an amazing job. Bill Sweedler, Townsend Bell. Townsend, welcome to ALMS. What a way to start with a win. William Rass, Battery Tender, PR Newswire. Thanks for everybody. It was just an amazing event. A bit of a scare with an hour and a half to go with a big hit, but luckily the car held together somehow.
A lot of action, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, 1-2 for Alex Job Racing and the Battery Tender car. Well done to them. Bill Sweedler and Townsend Bell swapping across the Lotus Evora when we go to the next ALMS race at Long Beach.
43 wins, I reckon that is in the LMS for Alex Job Racing.
Just 43.
Merely 43.
Yeah, absolutely. Good run to third place by Peter Lasafra's 34 car. That's the Green Hornet that he shares with Sebastian Bleekemolen and Damien Faulkner, particularly when you consider that Damien was attacked by an errant Ferrari. Whilst he was in second place and chasing for the lead in that category. So the media scrum awaits the champions here at Sebring and the 60th running of the Mobil 1 12 hours. The photographers trying to get the shot from the pit wall. Podium ceremonies not too far away. So let's just confirm the results. And P1, the head of the field, as the parties begin to start. The McNish car leading and in fact winning for Audi Sport Team Jost. Their teammates in second place. Third in P1 was the 16, being the Pescarolo. And fourth in P1. And the best of the ALMS runners was the 016, just to confuse us. That's the Dyson. P2, Starworks from Level 5, from Oak and from PCOM. Good result for them there. Greaves Motorsport fighting back from earlier problems to fourth position ahead of Alan Docking Racing. Welcome, Alan, to Endurance Racing. Sixth position for them on their first outing.
Yeah, find out. They're certainly going to be thrilled with that debut in sports car competition, no doubt about that. Good result to the Lotus to get home in 7th place.
Yeah, fairly quiet race for them. Didn't call their names too much, but they didn't get in the way either, so that was good news. In PC, Core Autosport carry on their winning ways in the American Le Mans Series. Pierre R1 Mathewson in second position. Look at the names there: Domson, Junko and Leitzinger.
And Bert Frizzell has only ever done 2 LMS races. He won at Petite a couple of years ago. He's now won the Sebring 12 hours as well. And for Viso and Popov, this is their first ALMS races as well, so 100% records all around.
Battling 1,000, 2 Core Autosport teams on the podium there. Well done to Merchant Services opening their account in 4th position. The ever-exciting GT, well, what a last 3.5 hours, as Joey Hand said. Han Muller and Summerton winner. Another debut winner, Jonathan Summerton there, standing on the top step in his first race. Jordan Taylor coming up 1 short, but Corvette coming in 2nd after Beretta got a puncture in that closing melee at the end of the GT category. May have some repercussions after that. We'll have to find out. In GTC, Alex Job Racing 1st and 2nd, and Green Hornet Racing in 3rd. TRG coming home in 4th. And there is JDX Racing, who had a bit of a problem early on, but came back to a strong 5th position. Now, GT, we've been talking about it. Let's review. Taking notes, I hope. Now, there's the 51 car, right up the tailpipes of the leader. Dives in. Now, look behind. Olivier Beretta is just there. You can see the white stripe. He's already dropped away, potentially with a problem, according to Joey.
No, I don't think. Well, I'm not sure.
Now, where does he come? Here. He's not there. He hasn't gone by him at that point. And
he spun it. Look in the middle there.
He spun it in the middle of the corner, trying to avoid the man that he'd been racing. So Beretta spins it on the last lap, and Jan Magnussen says, "Thank you very much," and goes through. Great pickup from the guys on tip.
But what a...
EJ Viso down in the pit lane with Kelly.
And we saw some great battles all day long in that PC class. EJ Viso, you come home victor, but you guys really had a good one going with the 52 there for a while. What does it mean to you to come in here from your IndyCar open wheel experience and win the 12 Hours of Sebring?
Well, everything was very last minute, and I'm very grateful that how everything happened. Very excited about this race, and I want to give this win to my sister. It's her birthday today, and very excited about it. First time, and for sure it's not going to be the last.
What did you think of the entire experience with the traffic, the different classes of cars? It's a bit chaotic.
Well, definitely it's a thrill, you know. It's very, you can never lose concentration. Every part of the race is a different part, and every part it has its own characteristics, and it was very fun for sure. I'm going to do it next year. I loved it.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That are over here on the pit outside.
Just unbelievable finish to that race.
Just going back to that incident there on that last lap in GT, that's a really classless move, I think, from Jimmy Bruni, and I'm really surprised that somebody of his stature should make a really dumb move. I mean, that is not a place to overtake into the carousel there. That was, if it was a battle for the lead, that's one thing.
Olivier Beretta was the other part of that, and he'd had a great scrap with the guys, and look at his face. He is not happy, and Jamie Howe is going to stick the mic underneath Olivier Beretta's nose and get some comments.
Olivier Beretta, was clearly not the final lap you wanted. Talk us through what happened.
Well, we pushed very hard. We really want to win, so I go for it. And the BMW went sideways, went on the grass, and I have to overtake another car. I went to the dirt. Then I see the BMW sideways. I jump on the brake and I lost it. And we went both on the grass, and that was it. But the Ferrari was quick. The team did a very good job. And, next time. But it was a really nice race.
One thing's for sure, they certainly put on a show.
It was a show, but Jimmy Bruni made that move there in driving that 51 car. He was almost 100 laps down, and team tactics is one thing, but and again, if that had been Beretta that made that move into the carousel, that's kind of one thing. I wouldn't have liked it. At least it's a battle for the lead. But for somebody who's 100 laps down, a teammate of the guys running second to take out Joey Hand there, that's just plain wrong. And I hope there's some penalties given out for that.
Well, he wasn't being lapped, so he must have caught up Beretta and passed Beretta and then had a go. There was no reason.
But Bruni's got nothing to do with that battle for the lead other than trying to help his teammate. And that, to me, is not motor racing. No. That's just really classless.
But not in that way.
I've always had a massive amount of respect for Jimmy Bruni, and I've lost it all tonight.
It's a bit like the goalkeeper running all the way up to the other penalty box to get involved in something that
and then clobbering the other goalkeeper.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. As I say, he must have passed his teammate to get involved in the first place, because those two guys, you couldn't have put a telephone directory between them.
Guys, we talked earlier it was going to be an epic battle. We talked petrol versus diesel, Justin.
Yeah, and it really did live up in one way in the fact that Audi did win at the end of the race, but I think they were given a break because there were so many yellow flags and the gas engines couldn't pull it out.
And GT? GT was unbelievable. I mean, 2 hours to go, you don't know, is it going to be Corvette, BMW, Ferrari, was anybody's ball game, decided on the last lap.
For Jamie Howe, Kelly Stavis, Rick DeBrule, Justin Bell, Johnny O'Connell, I'm Brian Till. Thanks for joining us for coverage of the American Le Mans Series.